Welcome to the regular city council meeting. Today is Monday, December 2nd, 2024. This meeting is called to order. Tonight's invocation is by Bishop Dorothy Sherrod of Lily of the Valley Church.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time that you blessed us to be able to come together. We thank you for how you protected us over the highways, over the dangerous weather conditions, and you blessed us to be able to make it here safely. And Father God, while we're here and we're in the process of being a part of this city council meeting, we pray your blessings upon our city council members and their families. We pray, Father God, that we will continue to be able to have recourse, that our discussions, whatever it might be, concerning our city, the affairs of our city, the issues of our communities, that we will be able to work together, that we will have peace and harmony among ourselves, and that we will continue to acknowledge you, because without you, we know that it is impossible for us to continue to complete the test that is set before us. So we pray for your wisdom, your knowledge, your understanding, and your guidance, that you will continue to protect our council members and their families, our police department, our firemen, those that are in charge of keeping our city, protecting us and keeping us safe. Father, we're so grateful and we're so thankful, and we pray that you will bless us as we continue on in this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Thank God. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Megan, could we have roll call, please?
Of course. Jeff Arnold.
Here.
Mary Hasley. Here. Wendy Onuki. Here. Joe Reeser.
Here.
George Sleeper.
Here.
Letitia Wilkins.
Here.
And Annie Brown.
Here. We have a long meeting and a closed session and a public hearing tonight, so is there a motion to approve the agenda with a 3-minute limit to comments tonight?
I move that we approve the agenda with a 3-minute limit for all public comments.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I do not support limiting public comments to 5 minutes for the public hearing we have on the zoning ordinance, which is a completely new zoning ordinance. And there are not a huge number of people in the audience, and I think that they should be given 5 minutes on the zoning ordinance.
Okay, the motion is for 3-minute for all comments, so let's vote on that first. Can we have a roll call, please?
Arnold.
Yes.
Hasley.
No.
Onuki. No. Reeser.
Yes.
Sleeper.
Yes.
Wilkins.
Yes.
And Brown.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. And now it is time for community update from Judge Kathy Brickley.
Thank you for having me. I think I know some, if not most of you, and it sounds like you have a busy night. I never know whether people are interested at all in little updates from the courts now and then, so if you don't want me to do this in the future, let me know. I know we're not the most exciting area, but so I wanted to just start out by just educating people who may not know about our court system in Van Buren County. We have 5 judges. We have Judge Clark, who's a district judge out here in South Haven. We have Judge McKay, who's a district judge in Paw Paw. I'm the circuit judge, and I handle the criminal felony docket. We have another circuit judge who's handling our family docket. I'll talk about that. And we have a probate judge, a new probate judge who's replaced Judge DeStefano. Probate generally handles wills, estates, mental health commitment type hearings, things of that nature. District courts generally handle lower level criminal matters, misdemeanor matters, civil cases, $25,000 or less, landlord tenant, things like that. The circuit judges handle the felony crimes, the civil suits that are $25,000 or more, family law areas, divorce, children issues, things of that nature. So as I said, we have 5 judges in our county. That said, we're one of the first courts to have developed a unified court system, And what that means to all of you is that we are all cross-assigned. So I'm cross-assigned by the Supreme Court to also handle probate matters. My district judge can handle my matters, and it mattered a lot when we were in COVID crisis, trying to catch up on an extraordinary backlog of criminal cases, that my district judges had the legal authority to step in and handle some of those cases so we could keep cases moving. So it's a very customer-oriented approach, and we're glad that we have it here. Just to highlight a couple things that are going on right now, we are fully embracing juvenile justice reform, and Judge DeFon is handling that, and that's designed solely to keep these low-level kids that don't belong in the criminal courts in any way, shape, or form diverted from the court system. So the kids, truancy kids, vaping kids, things of that nature, we're going to give them diversion coaches, life coaches, mentors to help them build a better future without getting embroiled in the criminal justice system. And that's the whole goal of this reform that's coming about now. So you'll see, I think we have a pilot project starting up with South Haven and Paw Paw schools to help divert some kids out of the system. So you'll see that coming. Also, criminal front, people like to hear about that. The big thing in criminal courts right now that I'm proud of is that we have 7 specialty court or problem-solving courts, and these are courts that are designed to deal with the crux of the issue. It's fairly extraordinary that in a county our size, we have 7 of these courts. We have adult women's treatment court, adult men's treatment court, we have a veterans court program. We join with Allegan for that one. We have a mental health court, family reunification court, a swift and sure sanctions program. It's like if you're going to the hospital, you're going to want to see a specialist for your issue. And these courts just hone in, laser focused on what the issues are to help stop the cause of the criminality in the first place. We have extraordinary teams of people that all get together to work on these courts. So if you see any one of them, thank them. It's selfless work. We've got the Sheriff's Department, Public Defender's Office, Prosecutor's Office, Community Mental Health, Department of Health and Human Services. All these people come together to form a team to work with these people. And it's big bang for your buck because traditional processing of criminal cases in jail and prison tends to cost us $25,000 to $40,000 a year. These programs cost $2,500 to $4,000 a year. It's an extraordinary difference. And the success rates are remarkable too. So if you go in traditional business as usual programming, jail or prison, national studies will tell us it's about 75% chance that person's going to reoffend. If you put them through this less expensive program, there's about a 25% chance they'll reoffend. So it's kind of a no-brainer, and I'm proud to say that we were able to achieve almost $5 million in grant funding to fund our programs. So it's being paid for by grant money, so we're happy for that. I also wanted to just update that Judge Clark is leaving. He's going to be retired out in a couple of years. He's done. So my guess is, and Mary already approached me about it, I think soon we're going to start having to have some difficult discussions with everybody and hearing everybody's input on whether we're going to maintain a South Haven facility, whether we're going to have a new facility somewhere, what we're going to do. Because right now we don't have the space in Paw Paw to put, even if everybody said yes, we don't need South Haven. We just don't have the space to put the judges that we need and the staff that we need in Paw Paw. So it's just going to be a fun discussion, and I really look forward to it. But, and then jury trials, and then I'm almost done. But jury trials, we did 49 jury trials last year, which broke all of our records as far as the number of jury trials. And so some of you in this room may have been called to do service, and I'd like to say thank you because I do know what an extraordinary inconvenience it is for everybody to be pulled out of your busy lives and asked to come in to serve. But usually we get very positive remarks from the jurors about what a fulfilling and rewarding experience it was for them. Jurors work harder than I could have ever imagined before I became a judge. I mean, they get emotionally embroiled in doing the right thing and watching the entire case and taking it in. So I was able to get the county to work out a program where the jurors can now have some counseling after they've served, because some of these bigger, really gruesome cases take their toll. So there's a lot of secondary trauma. So if you are a juror and you're struggling at all, just reach out to us and let us know, and we can get you some counseling. Lastly, I just wanted to talk about and just give a shout out to court staff and encourage all of you to do the same thing if you run into them anywhere. People don't think of courts as bustling businesses, doing strategic planning and all that kind of stuff, but we are. We have almost 100 employees, where we've got over a $4 million budget in the court, and these people are making government salaries, but they're constantly going to trainings, and we require them to keep up with the law. We're getting law changes every week, it seems, coming through. So, and they experience a lot of that secondary trauma too in their job. So if you happen to run into any court staff anywhere around, please give them a big thank you. So at that, I'll see if anyone has any questions of me.
Had a comment.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you for coming out here, especially with this weather. But everything you told us was news to me, and I think it's so interesting to learn about it. I'm going to look up more of these different topics later. So I just
good.
want to thank you for telling us what's going on.
Well, you're welcome. Yep. Anyone else?
Mary?
I just want to thank you for everything you do, too.
Thank you. You're welcome.
It's a lot being in your shoes, so thank you.
You're welcome. We'll have a good meeting, everyone.
Thank you, Judge Brickley.
You're welcome.
Next is public comment, but before we start, I want to remind you that for our safety and well-being of our city council and people in our audience, aggressive behavior will not be tolerated. Examples of aggressive behavior include, but are not limited to, abusive language, including swearing, name-calling, and vulgar pejoratives, yelling, making threats of any kind, physical attacks, and sexual harassment. Aggressive individuals may be asked to leave. Thank you. And now you can come forward and make comments on items on the agenda, and you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, council members. John Lorsdorfer, 23 Delaware. Just wanted to make a couple comments on item 13. Support the resolution for the continuation of the moratorium. Also, though, I wanted to look at the suggested amendment to the ordinance regarding short-term rentals. At the very end of that, there's a definition regarding personal units. But there's also a definition for the short-term rental personal unit, but it talks about a dwelling, but it doesn't define the fact that it has to be owned by a person. So I would suggest that it read a zoning use consisting of a residential dwelling unit occupied by the owner as its principal residence. And that would clarify the definition of what you're trying to get at, because it's not just a residential unit that's being rented, it's one that is occupied by the owner as a principal residence. Thank you.
Before you start my time, Megan, Mary Lynn and Pat just came in. Can we inform them that their time has been cut to 3 minutes unexpectedly, rather arbitrarily by the mayor? You know, we prepare for this and we come out in a foot of snow. Please think about doing that arbitrarily in the future. It's not so nice when residents plan for 5 minutes. Okay, here we go. I'm Elaine Herbert, 404 North Shore Drive. 8 years after the 2016 STR ordinance, we find ourselves in a new and unexpected community of stakeholders, I hope all very, very anxious to begin again in an open and wholehearted way to solve the big problem of STR reform. I know this community consists of zoning-compliant STR owners who want to confidently take reservations for next year. They want this settled. Service business owners and employees who want to feel control and confidence of their local livelihoods for next year, they want this settled. Residents who want South Haven to have a future with a community of families with year-round careers that enjoy living here, homes for generations, homes for workers, stores for people who live here, we want this settled. And we elected a slate of council and a mayor who promised that reform. The city council made great progress on the regulatory ordinance all summer, but it was zoning reform that was dead in the water at Planning Commission and the city manager's desk all summer. A terrible proposed ordinance desired by no one, sat flat going nowhere, improved by nobody, doing nothing, back and forth. Residents consistently rejected every bit of it, meeting after meeting, month after month at City Council and Planning Commission. When it became clear to stakeholders that we weren't being heard again, they got together and we created our own. Thank you, Councilwoman Hosley, for taking stakeholder calls repeatedly and making more calls to your own. Thank you, Councilman Reeser, for making the motion at council 2 weeks ago to finally cause our ordinance to see the light of day. And finally, thank you, Attorney Bloom, obviously couldn't make it here in the Snowmageddon, to throw his hands up and saying, what? And now you have the extraordinary SDR Code of Ordinance and Zoning Ordinance reform before you. Please send it directly to Planning Commission for a public hearing.
You have 1 minute.
Let everyone be heard there for any tweaking or twerking they may advise. Bring it here by January for your public hearing. Let everyone be heard then and there also, and then set this code and zoning for passage by February. Congratulations. Please be brilliant and please be unanimous. Ditch that other thing and pass this balanced stakeholders proposed middle ground reform proposal as represented and presented by Councilwoman Hosley in your agenda packet to Planning Commission. By the way, there's like 7 exits in this room and none of them have an exit sign. Please get that reform happening as well. Thank you.
Dan Agnello, 964 Everett Parkway. I support the moratorium on personal STRs also. I hope you extend that. And like Elaine indicated, the reason that the previous middle ground was presented was because exactly what she said. Nothing was getting done to anything significantly that residents want. They wanted significant change. We're not asking for like Lake Township 0 or Holland, which only has 25. More like New Buffalo, which has 250. Okay, they're 1,800 population. So you're looking at a similar ballpark, to what we have. But we were asked for significant reform, and it wasn't being done, so that's the reason it was done when it was done, okay? Because we don't want to see the same thing again and again and again without significant reform, and I appreciate all of you that supported that. All we wanted was balance, and we went a long time reduction after a long time. Not immediately, nobody's going to lose any cleaning companies are not going to lose any income or whatever it is, but by attrition, we need to get the numbers down. And the proposed changes include grandfathering from 16 and 18. I don't agree with that. I'm more like what John Humphrey said. They don't have any grandfathering in New Buffalo, but I think that's kind of a middle ground. As long as we can prove that those STRs in 16, 18 were lawfully registered. And that's where I like the fact that there's going to be a committee made up of various people, including residents, who are going to make sure that the 50 non-complying STRs that our city attorney talked about, where we feel there's more than 100 of them that, are not complying, okay? So I think that's a good
1 minute.
Thank you. So I think that's a good idea. And also, the signs for STRs. We've been through this a few times. Supposedly, the signs that are on 4x4s are not permanent. Supposedly, they could be removed just like the wire signs that you have for other STRs. I'd like to see in the STR ordinance a sign part of the ordinance that says no STR signs. Because remember, these have been proved that they're businesses in residential areas. So you should not have business signs in residential areas. We're used to having for sale signs. They're not there for very long. That's fine. But you should not have business signs in residential areas. Thank you.
Any other comments for items on the agenda? If not, we will move on. Consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through G?
I move to approve consent agenda items A through G.
I'll second it.
Could we have a roll call, please?
Hasley,
Yes.
Onuki,
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
and Brown.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Old business number 9, and we have a need for a public hearing.
I make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Kate?
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the public hearing for, or I think when council wants to make that motion to open the public hearing, we are scheduled to have a public hearing on the proposed zoning ordinance. As I mentioned last time, this was a 2-year process to recodify the zoning ordinance. And as noted in the packet, there's still a number of items that need to be sussed out with related topics, and those have been itemized out for future discussion by council. But again, this is a pretty massive undertaking with doing a new zoning ordinance. So Kelly Doucette is here to answer any questions. I know you may have gotten some questions from the public on those. Happy to walk through those, and I know we've had some emails today on some language, so happy to talk about all of those. But again, I want to make sure that we're not putting perfection over progress here. This is a long effort, a substantial effort undertaken by staff, the ad hoc committee, to review this very sizable document.
Thank you. Kelly, do you want to start with opening comments, or do you want to take questions?
I'll leave that to you, Madam.
Okay. Does anyone have questions?
Hear from the public?
Oh, we'll take comments from the public or questions, and you have 3 minutes.
Yes.
John Lorsdorfer, 23 Delaware. It has been a long process. We appreciate that. The recodification started to end up in making substantive changes. I think it's important that you as council members and us as residents have a list of the substantive changes. I certainly don't have time to go through 200 and some pages and try to figure out what may have been changed. And I think it's important, if you're going to adopt this, that you're clear about what the substantive changes are. So I would expect to see a list in the packet for everybody to say, these are the changes that were made over the past 2 years. I mean, somebody made them, so there has to be some list out there. But I was just surprised that we didn't have that. Because normally when you amend an ordinance, you have to have public hearings stating the specific changes, and I don't recall that being done. I think because it's being recodified that a lot of things were put in there. But I've already heard a lot of residents raising questions about some of the stuff, and after 2 years, it's hard to keep track of things. So I would strongly suggest that a list be made of the proposed substantive changes. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Pat Gaston, 97 Superior Street. I would agree that it would be nice to have some kind of packet where you could actually go through and see exactly what we're doing. I feel like it's a full-time job as a resident just to keep track of all of this. And, I try to go through it today, again, online. As you notice, I'm older. It's harder for me to go scroll through it on the computer, et cetera. I did notice a couple things. I've always been kind of, one of my big interests is lot coverage because I know what our rules are. I follow by the rules. I understand we've changed the measuring from drip line to, I guess, foundation. Is that correct, Kelly?
Go ahead.
That's why I thought we were going to ask questions. Can we?
The lot coverage measurement has been changed to the wall or foundation, yes, the outer edge of the wall.
Okay. I mean, I think the other was better. I understand, I guess it was a problem for staff to figure out the lot coverage using the drip line, but, and I'm also kind of curious about the wall. For instance, my wall of my house is the wall of my house. Then I have a porch in front of that, and I have a deck behind that. So is that lot cover? I mean, that gets very confusing to me when you're going to the wall.
Kelly, you can feel free to answer.
We don't want to take her time.
Oh, okay,
that's
go ahead.
right. That's right. I only have 3 minutes here. Oh my goodness!
Well, now you have
Wow,
1
I've got to
minute.
race ahead. There was also a drawing, a diagram in there. I'm thinking it was 602, and it shows lot coverage. It shows the house. It shows the this. It shows the that, and then it shows a deck that's not included in lot coverage, and yet supposedly decks are covered in lot coverage. So I was like, not covered, decks are covered, are not covered. In that diagram, it says specifically, not covered. My other big question is, all of a sudden in multiple family, I don't even know, RM1 or something, we all went from 40 to 30 and 35 to 30, but all of a sudden RM1 went from, I don't even know what, to 55%. I'm trying to picture a lot with 55% of it being covered by a building seems over the top, because even 40%, when you look at it, looks unbelievable. So I can't imagine.
Your time's up.
Oh, that was pleasant.
Thank you. Kelly, would you like to comment?
Sure. I think that the lot coverage calculation is not going to change significantly from what is on the books right now. After discussion at the last meeting, we did realize that there was a slight error in the text that you all had in the packet. That's been corrected. Decks are included in lot coverage. Everything will be measured much the same way as it is now. It's just that we're not including the drip line of the eaves, which is problematic for staff, but also for residents, community members who are submitting their own application packets, as well as contractors and developers. It's really much more efficient, common for us to receive applications with measurements to the wall.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Keith Kalinowski, 270 Oak Street. I'm also the president of the Mariners Cove Association. I just want to clarify, so are we, for RM1s, are we sticking with 30% coverage, or are we going up to 55%?
If you just continue your talk for 3 minutes, and then she'll answer your questions.
So that would be one question. Also, two, I want to emphasize the importance of maintaining the existing parking conditions for those units that have been built pre-revisions in the ordinance. So, for example, North Shore Condominium Associations was built about 60 years ago. I think I saw that parking requirements for STRs are going to be a minimum of 2 spaces. That wouldn't be possible at North Shore. Most of the complex is built out, and there are only 1 parking space per unit. There would be no possibility that that could be increased. And I just want to emphasize that The short-term rentals are helpful to businesses in the community. I understand that there are issues between homeowners and workers' housing, but I think we need to keep a balanced approach, as Councilwoman Hasley has suggested. And so she's been very helpful in keeping us apprised of what is going on with council and the different changes, and we appreciate the efforts that she has made in keeping us informed. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly, could you answer his questions now, please?
Sure. So ultimately, it will be a city council decision if the RM1, which is a multifamily district, lot coverage is retained at 55% is recommended in the text. This is an increase over the current zoning ordinance. And that was done primarily because RM1 is a multifamily district. It is intended for increased density. And if we are supportive of increased housing in the community, the committee felt that that was an appropriate change. Our consultants recommended that percentage because they do very commonly see RM1 lot coverage percentages at 50 and 60%.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mary Lynn Boogie, 70 Gabriel Drive. Appreciate the work that was done on the zoning ordinance. I think it still has a good way to go. I would like to speak in opposition to the RM1 zoning going to 55, and I'll give you an example. Let's look at what happened to Overton before. When it came in not even that high, the opposition doesn't fit in with our community at all. Going to 55% coverage, you add your parking, you have no green space. Where do the families sit outside? Where do the kids play? How do you have a quality of life? We're not a huge city. We are a small seaside town. Please keep that into consideration and do not raise the density of apartments. I will also stress even more, many people, many of the areas not only have a lot coverage, they have a density that comes into play with multifamily. We have no density restrictions. Consider how many apartments could go on Overton and not give people living there quality of life, and also injure the quality of life of all the neighborhoods around them. I also have a concern regarding the size of accessory buildings in there, but particularly I have a concern regarding using home occupations. Right now is going from 10% of your home to 25%, which is fine. It's within your home. It only concerns you because it can't have bad consequences to the neighbors. However, what we're doing now is we're broadening it out to allow accessory buildings come into play. Accessory buildings can be 3 feet off of the property line. Who does that bother? Is it going to bother people in the house or outside of the house? We're broadening it out to allow you to have more space in your house to use for your personal occupation. It is not a factory. It is a personal occupation. However, you put it into garages. Let's see. Oh,
You have 1 minute.
motorcycle repair, car repair. And yes, it's a special use, but you know what? People will get around that, and things will be approved that shouldn't. So please, really, really do this very incrementally. Let's try it out at 25% at the house and not include accessory buildings at all at this time. If we see it's operating really well, we can expand it in the future to a portion, perhaps, of an accessory building. But let's be really measured so we don't end up with something else impacting our neighborhood, such as when we leaped into short-term rentals. Please consider those up.
Joe Wilkins, 811 Indiana Street. Real quickly, I oppose the increase in lot coverage for a couple of reasons. One is because I believe that it could cause more harm for our neighborhood if this thing with STR is open wide up. It would allow homes to be built bigger. For example, someone can purchase a little smaller home in south side of Ward 1 and then decide to build onto that house and make it bigger, they have a bigger coverage they can use. So and then if we don't get regulation with STRs, that turns into STRs. Same way with the extended, I believe it was, housing that you could build over the garage. I'm totally against that too, because if we don't get this STR under control, that can cause more harmship to our area as well. Density, not so much, as far as Overton property, but it's what we've seen happen in outside of Ward 1 when it comes to all these big homes going up for STRs. I also want to speak to another zoning issue. Does zoning deal with the setbacks and the characteristics of homes? I'm assuming it does. I asked a question earlier this week because we have a house that's going in that I believe is going in, a modular is going in sideways. Now, I've been told it's not going in sideways because it has a door on the end. Most of these modulars do have doors on the end, but it's changing the characteristic of our neighborhoods. And so I am a little concerned about what I'm seeing being approved through zoning for these modulars to be placed in these little small spaces. So now you have the frontage of these modulars looking towards somebody's house, and it's changing the characteristics of our neighborhood. And so I want to get some more clarity on that. Just because of the door on the end of a modular does not mean it's not changing the characteristics of our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly, would you like to answer those questions?
Well, we've talked a little bit about the lot coverage already, so it sounds like maybe council will be discussing that. I heard some concern about accessory dwelling units, which are not permitted now and won't be permitted under the new ordinance. And we haven't made significant changes to setbacks. The change that was made in the R1A district was, in fact, an increase to the side yard, to the setback to require a minimum of 5 feet instead of the 3 that is required now. I have spoken with Bishop Wilkins about the modular home, and I'm happy to show him the site plan for that particular site at another time.
Okay, so he can call you and set up a meeting.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Any other comments? Council, any comments?
I would move to close the public hearing.
Well,
With just the public part, we would still talk.
just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The public hearing is closed. City Council. Any questions? Mary?
I can start out. Some of the issues I've raised have been brought up by the residents. So I believe Ms. Gaston was speaking about the bubble on figure 2.7 on page 28 of the PDF 2-16 of the ordinance. And I had indicated that the bubble was inconsistent with what lot coverage was because it said it excludes unroofed decks, but decks are included if they're above 4 inches. And so I would move to amend by striking the unroofed from that bubble and inserting ground level. So it would read excludes ground level decks, which would then be consistent with the text. For definition of porch, I had indicated that the use of area was inconsistent with the description with deck and had suggested that area be stricken and replaced with structure. So I would move to make that change.
Is this going to be one long motion, or are we going to break this up into a couple that are a little bit easier to discern?
So I was going to say, I think those are two semantic type changes, and that could be one motion. So I would move to strike unroofed from the bubble in figure 2.7 and insert therein ground level such that it would read excludes ground level decks. And for the definition of porch, I would move to strike area and insert therein structure.
Okay, is that one motion?
That's one motion.
Okay.
Was the second part also on page 28 of the zoning ordinance?
No, so that would be, I'm sorry, in section 201.16, page 34 of the PDF, page 2-22 of the ordinance.
What was that one?
That's where roof, porch is described as a roof open structure versus a roofed open area. Because deck is described as an unroofed structure, just so that they're parallel.
Kelly, do you have a comment on this?
My only comment would be that I did speak with the consultant about the figure 2.7 and the unroofed comment, and we did have some conversation about whether or not to make the change because ground level decks, as Councilmember Hasley stated, are not included in the lot coverage. So wherever there is a discrepancy or something is not clear, discrepancy is probably a little bit harsh of a word, but between the graphic and the text will control, just so that you're all aware. But otherwise, I don't have any comment about these two changes.
Okay.
And if I may, just
Go
have the
ahead, Kate.
second part of, I believe we have the first part, which was to strike unroofed from figure 2.7 on page 28 of the PDF to say ground level decks. But I'm a little lost in the second part of the motion. Can you restate that, please?
Yeah, it's just like I sent it in by the email. I would move to strike area and replace therewith structure in the definition of porch on page 34, 2-22 in section 201.16 for Ps.
So the definition of porch would then read a roofed open structure, comma, which may be screened, comma, usually attached to or part of and with direct access to or from a building. A porch becomes a room when the enclosed space is heated or air conditioned and when the percentage of window area to wall area is less than 50%.
Correct.
Kelly, any concerns about that? Go ahead.
No.
Can you read the motion again?
Okay, move to amend to strike unroofed from the bubble in figure 2.7 on page 27 of the PDF to say ground level decks. And then the second part is to strike area and replace therewith structure and in the definition of porch in section, and then what Kate read, but I just didn't get the section numbers.
Okay.
It was section 201.16P.
6P, okay.
I'll second.
Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Onuki,
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Hasley,
Yes.
and Brown.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you.
The next one concerned the parking that I had identified to staff while this was pending in Planning Commission, but it just never got resolved. And so that would be in section 2203.06. And it is on page 198 in the PDF, page 22-36 in the ordinance for parking, the schedule of parking requirements. And it would be to delete the requirements that all STRs have 2 parking spaces per unit.
Okay, you're deleting that, so that means
Correct.
that
then the parking would default to what the zoning district requires, which is how it is set up now.
So how many parking spaces is that then, if it's not 2?
Well, for single-family detached residence, it's 2 per dwelling unit plus 1 for each bedroom above 4. For CBD, it's dependent on whether it's the first unit or second unit. It's just, it's not as regimented. It's tied to the underlying zoning district. So Kelly could possibly speak to this better than I can because she was involved in the committee.
Kelly?
Sure. Those two in 23, where are we? 2303.06. This is the parking table. There are 2 additional rows for short-term rental parking requirements, and these were added back when the committee was discussing single-family residential parking. And at that time, and coming out of committee to Planning Commission, it was recommended that single-family dwelling units only require 2 parking spaces per dwelling. And so the compromise was that short-term rentals would then require additional parking. But the Planning Commission did not accept that recommendation. The Planning Commission wanted to keep the R1 parking as it is now, which is a minimum of 2, and then 1 per bedroom for any bedroom more than 3. So it's a little bit complicated for the R1s. But the other districts don't have that same requirement for dwelling units. In the Central Business District, as Councilmember Haase explained, the parking requirement is different. In the multifamily districts, the parking requirement is different. So this would eliminate the additional short-term rental parking over and above what the ordinance requires. And we will just be left with what the zoning ordinance requires.
Okay.
So we're not removing any parking requirement, only the additional short-term rental parking requirement.
Okay, thank you.
For both business and personal. It's just, this is actually more burdensome than what we currently have.
It is.
So I'm removing a burden because it
Okay.
was negatively affecting CBD, attached condos, multifamily.
Okay,
It has-
thank you.
It's identical to what residential is, so that has no effect.
Okay, thank you. Can you read the motion, please?
Yes, so it's a motion to strike on page 198, the parking restrictions for the short-term rental business units and personal units.
Okay. Was there a second?
Not at the moment,
Did you say no?
not at the moment.
Oh, Kate, did you have a comment?
No, I was just going to say, no one has seconded
Okay.
yet. We just got done with the motion.
I just heard
Wendy.
one second. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, roll call, please.
My list, okay. We have Onuki.
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Hasley,
Yes.
and Brown.
Yes,
Motion
thank you.
carries.
One other item that I actually identified after the Planning Commission had sent the zoning ordinance to the city council when I was looking at parking requirements for short-term rentals and trying to identify what it was in CBD, I realized that the parking for CBD in the new zoning ordinance was substantively changed to require one parking space for every residential unit. I understand that that was done because of the congestion in the CBD, but I find that that is detrimental to encouraging development of spaces above allowed uses for residential purposes. And comments that I've gotten back, specifically from the chairman of the Planning Commission, was yes, that it would be beneficial to have that modified back to the way it currently reads, where one dwelling unit per lot is allowed above any permitted use without providing a parking space. because of how it is worded in the current zoning ordinance, the motion is less specific because I'm not sure what the best way to say it is in light of where it occurs. So I move to replace section 704 subsection 2, which is on page 62 of the ordinance, page 7-3, with parking requirements similar to the current South Haven zoning ordinance, section 601 sub 16, with regard to central business district parking requirements. And they could come back to us with something that would dovetail between what is there now, incorporating what we have in the current zoning ordinance.
Okay, so Megan, do you need that motion again?
I'm sorry, nope, just the last section, current parking restrictions section blank with CBD parking restrictions.
Current South Haven zoning ordinance, section 601, subsection 16.
Kate, do you have comments on this?
Yeah, so right now, the current section in the proposed draft says, number 2, in the CBD, there shall be no minimum parking requirement for non-residential uses. All residential uses in the CBD shall provide a minimum of 1 parking space per dwelling unit. Public parking spaces shall not be counted for this purpose. So if I understand Member Hasley's motion, it is to insert the existing zoning ordinance for section 601.16 in this area?
It would, I think no. So that middle sentence would need to be replaced, and I am not sure of the most efficient way to do that. But the purpose is to allow 1 dwelling unit per lot above any permitted use without providing a space.
So would it be fair to
And then-
say that it should read that all residential uses in the CBD shall provide parking per the zoning ordinance, provided that the first dwelling unit or 1 dwelling unit does not need to provide parking?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know if maybe you could incorporate section 16B that has a 1 and a 2, but then that sub 2 in the new zoning ordinance gets a little clunky, so that's why I would defer to Kelly and the consultant how to word it. But is that clear?
Is that clear to you?
It's clear to me, yes. The section 16 in the current zoning ordinance, the B that council member is talking about reads, 1 dwelling unit per lot is allowed above any permitted use without providing any parking space.
And then sub 1 is in the CBD district. Each
Yes.
additional unit requires 1 space per unit.
Yes.
Kate, do you have a question?
No.
Okay. We're clear on the motion. Is there a second?
A second.
I'll second it.
Wendy beat you.
I'm sorry.
Okay, can we have roll call, please?
Of course, just lost my,
Or is there any discussion?
Well,
Okay.
I'll just say that I'm a little unsure how this is going to look, so I'm going to vote no on this, because I think the way it is right now, it's clear to me what it says. If later on we want to look at it and change it, we can, but I don't feel comfortable just with the motion the way it is to try to say what it's going to look like, so.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions? Okay. Roll call, please.
got it. Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
No.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Arnold,
No.
Hasley,
Yes.
oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Onuki,
Yes.
and Brown.
No.
That is 1, 2, 3 noes, 4 yeses, motion carries.
Thank you.
And then the RM1 lot coverage. As I've stated, the list of substantive changes that has been provided to Planning Commission has not been complete. And this, the CBD part is one example. The RM1 lot coverage is another example. I mean, we discussed RM1 zoning district, but with regard to height, not really with regard to lot coverage. And with trying to identify all of the changes, this one was just missed. And we've received some communications today. We've heard from residents today that increasing it from 30 to 55 is a significant change. And it does affect residents who are in the RM1. They're not all attached condos. There are some single dwellings, especially in Ward 3. And I think it's too much of a change, especially without a full discussion, because this was not discussed at Planning Commission. And so I would move to change RM1 lot coverage back to 30% from 55%. For clarification, I had also discussed about a 5% reduction, and I have found other details that indicate that they were really looking at that just for the residential R1A, R1B, R1C. So I won't add the additional 5% reduction, but I will move to decrease RM1 lot coverage from 55 to 30%.
Any discussion or second?
If I may.
Oh, go
quickly,
ahead.
I believe currently it's 35% for RM1, so this would be the least, well, so this is the multifamily high-density district would have the lowest amount of lot coverage being proposed by this council. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, so when I originally was looking at it on my laptop, I thought it was 35, but when you go to it, so Kelly, isn't it section 502 for RM1?
Yes.
And in the current zoning ordinance, it says 30%.
Okay. Well, my error there, but clearly this is the highest density district we're supposed to have, so you want to go 30% lot coverage?
Well, I'm saying that is what that's what is in the current zoning ordinance. And because this really was not discussed, and it wasn't identified as a substantive change, and it is, I mean, it's almost doubling it.
So if I understand your motion, and I'm not sure if I did, it's to change the RM1 lot coverage from 55 to 30%, and it's only for that one district, is that correct?
That's correct.
That's on page 6-2 of the new zoning ordinance.
Thank you.
Comment.
Wendy?
Yeah, I had some concerns too of it being raised to 55%. Although I do understand the need for more housing and think that that area could be flexible to add more housing, duplexes and triplexes and whatnot, since it is multiple family dwellings are meant to be there. But yeah, 55% to me feels quite significant of a change from the 35 or 30%. I feel like 30% would be too low for that. So I'd rather it be somewhere in the middle, or I don't know if we could potentially send this section specifically to Planning Commission to discuss and bring back to us their thoughts on it.
I think that's a good idea. Thank you. Jeff, did you have something?
I would agree with Wendy with that. If Planning Commission hasn't had a look at this, or I'm sure they've seen it, but they haven't had a chance to discuss it, I would rather they addressed it. And then further, if affordable housing is one of our goals, and duplexes, triplexes, the 55%, yeah, the missing middle, this is how you get there. So yeah, I would rather have Planning Commission take another look at this.
Any other comments?
Just a quick question.
Joe?
Going to 35% versus 50, are we in any way helping duplexes by doing that? Or are we harming them? or will it have
Kelly.
any effect
Oh,
at
I'm
all?
sorry, go ahead.
That's it, yeah.
Dropping the lot coverage back down to 30% does not help to increase housing in the community.
Go ahead.
Oh, I do have a question, Kelly. So if we increase it, and let's say, I mean, we know we want the Overton site, you know, to go up, but let's say it doesn't go through. How, and we see now in Ward 1 especially, we have all these short-term rentals going up. How is that going to affect the short-term rental occupancies? Because we see those everywhere, and my concern is that if we raise it, then we might end up with bigger short-term rental homes.
So I can tell you that when this document was being reviewed by the Planning Commission, the prevailing wind in the community was that there would be no more short-term rentals. And so short-term rentals weren't part of the conversation. This RM1 was contemplated as additional housing for the community, not as additional rentals. So right now, it's correct that additional occupancy is permitted for short-term rentals in the RM1 districts. And I don't know if that will be the case going forward. Some of that will depend on the decision-making that happens from you all as you move forward and look at the rental regulations.
If I may, so it looks to me like, excuse me, R1, R1A, R1B all have 35%. R1C allows 75%. Sorry, I got a cold. So by having your RM1 being 30%, it's much, much lower, or at least it's 5% lower than just your regular single-family districts. If you would like to have more housing options at 55 is too high, would you contemplate 35% to make it comparable with R1, I'm sorry, R1A, R1B, and R2 districts? That way this keeps moving process forward. If you'd like to come back later, we can do so, but at least it's on the same footing as your three major districts, R2, R1A, and R1B. R1C is very limited, it's just to the Monroe Park area.
Thank you. George, you had a comment.
Yeah, I just, Kelly explained where the 55% came from. I'm good with that number. As someone who lives in an RM1 district, I'm good with it, so.
Thank you. Mary?
Thank you. Yeah, I would accept 35% over the 55%. We did get several emails today from people in RM1 across the street from where Councilman Sleeper lives, and they were not supportive of it going up to 55%. It's fairly dense. And there's a potential that this would not necessarily result in more workforce housing. It could result in bigger homes, which is counterproductive. And with Overton, I just kindly remind everybody that a planned unit development allows for waiver of all of the zoning requirements. So you can waive the lot coverage to have more density for a benefit to the community. So this is not, raising this to 55% does not guarantee workforce housing. It guarantees bigger homes in RM1, which are not necessarily for workforce housing.
Okay, I think we're ready to vote. Megan?
We need a second first.
Pardon me?
Well,
Oh.
we have no second at the moment, so the motion would be to change the RM1.
So I would amend to lower the 35%, I'm sorry, lower the 55% to 35% for RM1 in section 603 on page 59, page 4, no, sorry, 6-2.
And once again, Kelly, you said a lower percentage does not help with housing, with the housing crisis.
It doesn't help with the housing crisis. I also feel like sending this document back to the Planning Commission doesn't help either. So I think we're at a point where decision-making is good.
Thank you. Okay, was there a second?
For
There's
the,
no,
I'll second that.
Megan, can we have a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Sleeper?
Nope.
Wilkins?
Yes.
Arnold?
No.
Hasley?
Yes.
Onuki?
Yes.
Reeser?
Yes.
And Brown.
No.
That motion carries.
Can I add one comment to that?
Sure.
Okay. I would still like for there to be some kind of discussion of a way to get more housing in this area. I don't know if it would be, I'm comfortable leaving that at 35 for now, but as I said before, whether it's the Planning Commission, which it was stated they did not discuss this specifically as a group during a meeting, which is why I brought that up, whether it's them doing it, because this is what they do, or if it's us up here talking about, I don't know if it would be exceptions to be made for duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, like one-on-one, on an individual basis or something like that, so that we can encourage housing, but do it thoughtfully so that we're not opening the door to every, investment opportunity or, big houses versus people wanting to live here and work here. I don't think I said that right, but I think you know what I mean. If there is a way to still discuss that now or in the future, I would like us to figure out how we can entice more housing in these areas.
Did you hear what Kelly said?
Yes.
Okay. Let's send a message back to the Planning Commission that we would like a second opinion.
We can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, can I just say
Sure.
one thing? That this might help for what Wendy is saying, is that, and Kelly, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there is an effort to also redo the master plan.
Yes.
Part of redoing the master plan also is you get recommendations on changing ordinances coming out of the master plan, and that could definitely be something that could be looked at later on.
Yes.
When the master plan is revised, and then the ordinances are looked at after that.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Thank you.
If I could just add, so as part of that, we have been looking at different homes. So Ryan Kilpatrick came and gave a presentation, and what may help with this is allowing duplexes or triplexes in R1A, R1B, which they're not. And there are different designs that it looks like a single-family home. And it fits right in, the character's the same. So the square footage would be less, so the rent or purchase price would be less. So we are well aware of that, and we have taken steps towards that. Trying to be brief. For pools, I would move to require the special land use for pools along Lake Michigan and Black River. I appreciate that several pools have already been put in. We have a new report that will help us with amendments. With the master plan, we're looking at overlays. And so I would like to leave in the special land use requirement that is currently in the zoning ordinance. That would be amending section 2112.3. Sorry, I didn't, page, oops, I forgot the page on this one. Let me get it.
Kelly, was there planning commission discussion on pools?
There was committee discussion on pools. The Planning Commission has spent a lot of time reviewing pools on Lake Michigan over the last 2 years, and my understanding is that the group felt it was unnecessary to continue reviewing pools. Most of them, all of them, were being approved. There are no special land use standards for pools in the zoning ordinance, and the Planning Commission felt there was no reason to continue reviewing pools at that level.
Thank you.
And as I have said,
You're working on your motion.
No, so it's page 143, 21-11. The master plan is being worked on, and at the last workshop, we talked about overlays for coastal resilience. And so and we have a report that was issued in June this year that would assist us with pools and hot tubs along the
Okay.
lake.
I didn't hear, could you repeat your motion?
I would move to require that pools along Lake Michigan and Black River to be by special land use, which is, be approved by special land use.
Okay, do you have that, Megan? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yeah, this is another example where you really don't have the specifics on how this is going to actually change the ordinance, so I'm not comfortable voting for it right now. What words are going to be added, what words are going to be deleted, what sections are affected, so.
So it's section 2112, subsection 3, which you could simply insert after swimming pools may be constructed on the waterfront side, insert by special land use.
Okay, you said your motion, okay, you seconded it. Any more discussion? Okay, roll call?
Wilkins,
Yes.
Arnold,
No.
Hasley,
Yes.
Onuki,
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
No.
and Brown.
No.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
The last one, so there has been a concern raised about accessory buildings that are attached garages, where there's no requirement that the garage not be larger than the residential living space. The two of them, the attached garage and the dwelling unit, the living space, collectively are the principal dwelling unit. And there was a concern raised at some meetings by public that houses with garages that are bigger than the dwelling unit are not characteristic of our community. And especially with home occupation, if they can spill into the garage, that just makes it more of a concern. So I would move to require that section 2111, which is on page 142, it's 21-10, be amended, that it's inserted at the end, that to read, comma, and the accessory building or structure shall not exceed the ground floor of the main or principal building in a residential district that is used for the dwelling unit living residential space.
Kelly, did the planning commission vote on this part?
I don't recall that they did, no.
Okay. I do remember, though, at the meeting, Amy Nichols commented that her catering business was in her garage, and there were no concerns from her neighbors.
Amy Nichols' garage is also not larger than her home.
Okay.
And I think most garages are not larger than their homes.
Are you set with that was your motion?
That was my motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Can we have a restatement of the motion? Because if I'm looking at
Oh.
2111.11 reads currently in the proposed draft, accessory buildings shall be designed to be compatible in
Okay.
appearance with the
Don't
principal
let her go.
structure and consistent with the appearance of other buildings in the same zoning district. Is this the same section that we're talking about?
Yeah, sub 2. I'm sorry, I forgot to say sub 2. 2111 sub 2.
Okay, so sub 2 says, in any zoning district, an accessory building or structure may be erected that is detached from the principal permitted building. Attached accessory buildings, such as a garage, shall be considered an integral part of the principal building and in a substantial manner, such as by a wall or roof, it shall comply with all requirements of this ordinance applicable to the principal building. Now, you had insertable language into this section. Where does that fall?
At the very end, after building, after principal building.
So it shall say, comma, what now?
And it's, as I put in the email, and the accessory building or structure shall not exceed the ground floor area of the main or principal building in a residential district that is used for the dwelling unit, paren, living residential space, close paren.
Does that mean it would only be one story?
No, it's that the garage footprint, because if they're attached, they can have on top of them. But the garage footprint would not be bigger than the dwelling unit residential footprint.
Okay.
I'll have to look. Can you read that back?
Yes, so I just got up to the accessory building should not exceed the ground floor area in a residential district that is used as a living space, et cetera. That's where I lost. I'm sorry, Mary.
No.
Our Councilmember Hosley.
So, here, and the accessory building or structure shall not exceed the ground floor area of the main or principal building in a residential district that is used for the dwelling unit, paren, living residential space, close paren.
So this concern, if I may ask, is specifically for attached garages?
Correct, because sub 4 already requires that the detached accessory building shall not exceed the ground floor area of the main or principal building. And that same requirement didn't apply to the attached garage.
Okay, comments, Kelly? Or concerns?
Not at this time. This one makes me a little bit uneasy, just I'm not certain if there's another place in the ordinance where this might conflict, but it's just because I haven't had a lot of time to look at it.
I have a comment on this.
George.
So the way I read this, section 2, is that you put a garage and you attach it to your principal structure, everything now is considered the principal structure. And so what we're trying to do with this proposed amendment is basically trying to design what that principal structure is, how it's designed. And I think the zoning ordinance already does that when it's considered the principal structure. And I don't see what the problem is if you have a principal structure that has, a garage a certain size, as long as it meets all the other zoning requirements. I'm not sure what we're trying to fix here with this.
And Kelly, it looks like you're agreeing.
I have similar sentiments. I have similar feelings. Yes.
Okay, was there a second? Okay. Okay, we're ready to vote? Roll call?
No.
Hosley,
Yes.
Onuki,
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
No.
Wilkins,
Yes.
and Brown.
No.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, you said that was your last one?
That was, yeah. I had raised some others, but
Okay, moving on. Are there any other comments on this? Joe?
Just a quick comment. I'd like to thank Mary. I think her background as a lawyer and being on the planning commission puts her in a unique position to be able to really dissect the zoning ordinance, and I, for one, think it's very beneficial. It is time-consuming tonight, but I think we walk away with better zoning than had we not had this input. So I want to thank her. It's just my opinion.
Number 10, new business. The city council will be asked to approve.
Don't we have to vote on the whole
Oh,
thing?
roll call, sorry.
That's okay. There should be a motion to.
So I was going to move to have this brought back to us in final form so that we would approve the final version. The version that came to us last time had the typographical error for the lot coverage that did get fixed after we looked at the minutes. So I think because of how important this is, it would be helpful to have the final version in front of us to just review one more time.
Will the planning commission have time to review it too before it comes back to us?
No,
Okay.
no, this is, I would
Okay.
not call these like, major changes that would need to deviate this back to the planning commission.
Okay. Was there a second to that? Okay,
I'm
that
sorry,
motion fails.
Hold on.
Was that a complete motion? I didn't.
Yeah, I
That
didn't hear
motion
that
fails.
motion.
There was no second, so we're going back to that motion. And do you need,
No, so I guess, I didn't hear like that there was a motion, I just heard that Mary Hosley wanted to have this come back
No,
before.
she made a motion, and that failed because there was no second.
Okay, so if I understand things correctly, then we'll make these changes and bring this back for a final approval then on December 16th? I'm unclear as to whether this needs another public hearing.
It seems another council member could make a different motion if that was so desired.
I'll make a motion to adopt the new zoning ordinance as discussed with the proposed changes.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Jeff?
I just wanted to apologize to people that are here or people that are listening. In the noted changes, Councilor Hosley talked about emails. Well, in my email, I know that's not very transparent for you. I know lawyers have warned us about trying to conduct business through email, that it treads, on the border of Open Meetings Act. We better if we had paper copies here that we could share with the public, we could discuss. And I also am sad that we overrode things that the Planning Commission decided. And those are my comments.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mary?
Yes. I did send them to staff so that they could have them available tonight. And in the future, maybe they can make copies to hand out. I don't feel that as a council person, I need to make copies to bring out, to hand out. And I have been trying to get some of these things changed. I have spoken about them in public, and so everything is on the up and up. I've read these, and I wanted Megan to have it. Apologize, I didn't send it to her. I thought Kate might have forwarded it to her. I am going to vote no because I think we should have the final version in the final form to make sure that there wasn't any error in the preparation. As I said, this just even in the memo in today's agenda packet for this agenda item, one of the items that was corrected was the lot coverage calculation because the wording was not consistent with what the motion was at Planning Commission, and I had pointed that out.
Okay, we're going to move on. It's time to vote. Okay, what do we need?
Right now,
George
there's a
made the motion.
Yep, and it's been seconded by Jeff to adopt the zoning ordinance as discussed with proposed changes. And I think we've had 6 motions, and all have been successful. So we're very clear on the language and what has been approved.
Okay, so now we need a roll call. Go ahead.
Okay. Hosley.
No.
Onuki.
Yes.
Reeser.
No.
Sleeper.
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And just for the future, motions like yours are submitted the week before the meeting so they can be added to the agenda. Thank you. We're moving on. Next, number 10.
Point of order.
The city council, we're moving on, I'm sorry. Number 10,
Appeal.
the city council will be asked to approve special event application 2024-41, Our Lady of Guadalupe procession to occur on
We
December.
Did we do the moratorium extension?
We're on number 10.
Yeah, we have, that's
Oh,
part of
sorry,
item number
that's 13, sorry.
On December 12, 2024, from 5 to 6 p.m. on Monroe Boulevard, from South Haven Street to St. Basil's Church. Kate.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a special event application where St. Basil's is requesting the use of Monroe Boulevard for a procession. This will be for just 1 hour on December 12th from 5 to 6 p.m. I've reviewed this with city staff. There doesn't seem to be any concerns. We would be using cones to close Monroe Boulevard to make sure that the procession is safely carried out.
Thank you. Okay, is there a motion to approve the special event?
I move to approve special event application 2024-41, Our Lady of Guadalupe procession to occur on December 12th, 2024, from 5 to 6 p.m. on Monroe Boulevard from South Haven Street to St. Basil Church.
Support.
Was there a second?
I did.
Oh, thank you. Okay, any questions? All in favor say yes.
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 Opposed? The motion passes and the special event is approved. Number 11, the city council will be asked to receive the Downtown Development Authority informational meeting presentation. Kate.
Thank
Sue.
you. So we have here with us tonight is our DDA Director, Suzanne Brock, who will be giving a presentation, an informational meeting presentation to the City Council. This is one of 2 that's required by the DDA statute. So Sue, if you want to come on up, I've got your clicker here if you'd like to. Otherwise, I can just click it for you. It's up to you. Just press this for
Thank you so much. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm so glad to be here tonight. On a lighter note, I get to share with you all the great things that we're doing in the downtown district. So this first, I just have a few slides. It won't take me very long, but this first slide is just reiterating what Kate had mentioned in the staff report. We are required to do 2 informational meetings per year. One is at City Council and one will be at this Wednesday's DDA meeting. This presentation that I'm giving is just for information. There'll be no voting on it. There's no voting on budgets or any operational matters. It's just to keep you well informed of what we're doing. The goals and direction of the South Haven DDA are defined by the TIF and Development Plan, first created in 1980 and amended in 2000. A full document is available on our website and is required by law. In your packet too, when you see it, that is the website that you can go to that will take you to that document. What I wanted to further explain is the TIF. It stands for Tax Increment Financing, and this captures additional or incremental taxes on property as it increases in values, and that helps us fund projects in the downtown district. To better understand a little bit about the DDA, I think it's good to understand their mission. The Downtown Development Authority is to be a leader in helping to fulfill the City of South Haven municipal plan through planning, funding, and development of projects within the DDA district, which promote, encourage, and contribute to the overall economic growth and development of the community. This slide just shows our board members. We have 9 members. It is required that one of our members does reside in the DDA district. We also have one of our council members that sits on that as well. Every year around January, the DDA has a workshop, and we, just like you, we create our priorities. So in 2023 and 24, the DDA priority list is as follows. We rank those as well. from highest to lowest. And when we look at that ranking, we look at what we can actually fund through the TIF funds. So the number one, the highest, is ice rink improvements. We also have Broadway streetscape improvements, downtown public restroom improvements, and the improvement of existing parking or construction of additional parking. We will be also reevaluating those in 2025 to see if we're going to keep those or change those, especially the ranking. So the DDA, not only do we fund projects within the DDA, we also have some debt services that we have for past projects that we've had to fund as well. As you see, these are the 4 that we have outstanding right now. In 2027, we will have 2 paid off, which is great news because we may have another great big project on our horizon. So just to recap a little bit of 2024, some of the things that we were able to fund and accomplish this year is we were also able to re-roof the section of the condo where the restrooms are located. If you know, by Dyckman Park, we divided the Visitors Bureau into Condo 1 and Condo 2. The Visitors Bureau takes the front section, city owns the back section. And the only reason we were able to do that is because the DDA wanted to fund the restroom project, and they would not fund something that the city does not own. So the building had to be re-roofed. DDA is only responsible for a third of that, by the way. We also replaced the ice chiller. That was kind of in the making a little bit of the prior year, but it's at a final completion right now and has been paid for and working excellently. So when the degrees was in the 40s, we were able to chill that ice as they were making it, which was a huge improvement from previous years. Also, Dyckman Park restroom renovations. As you know, we've completed that project from top to bottom, and it is all funded. And then we continue to fund the flower bed and landscaping in the downtown district annually. That is something that is totally supported by the DDA funds. So we also participate in some community projects, such as the fireplace at Dyckman Park. The DDA did make the commitment that they would pay for the utilities of running the fireplace there. We budget for that. We are under budget. We budget about $8,000 a year. Last year we were under $1,000. I'm sure now it's getting a little colder. Last year was a very warm year. We probably will be at our budget or even under that as well. Another one is the social district. So the DDA does help fund all those social district stickers that the businesses who are participating that comes out of our budget. And speaking of that, I received an email from Joel and Heidi at The Taste, the owners of The Taste. They wanted to have me share this with the DDA as well as City Council. So I just want to take an opportunity to read their letter that they sent me. And it is concerning the social district. It said, "Dear South Haven City Council, thank you very much for your approval in the extended hours, dates, and boundaries of the South Haven Social District. The reviews and experience on our end were only positive this summer. We appreciate the confidence you have in the downtown businesses to adhere to the rules and laws set. This extension created a positive environment for the customers and a financial positive for staff and business owners, a total win-win. So thank you from our staff, customers, and us. We appreciate the chance for you that you gave to the restaurants." Thank you, Joel and Heidi. We also help fund with the Visitors Bureau the annual lighting, holiday lighting in the Central Business District, which is, if you notice all the great lights. We extended it on Broadway this year. We can't do the lights yet, but we did put some greenery on there because some of the businesses that are located on there have really reached out to ask if there's something we can do to help move traffic and promote that, because that is part of the DDA. So moving forward, there are some projects that are on our horizon that the DDA will be funding or helping to fund. The Huron Street project, which I'm sure that you're all familiar with, or at least Dana will talk to you about that right after this presentation. DDA will be helping to fund the new sidewalk there, as well as some light polling that's the same as what we have in the city. One of the new and up-and-coming things that we're truly excited about, and we'll be talking about at the Wednesday DDA meeting, is the Four Seasons Dykeman Park Pavilion. So this is a total upgrade of our pavilion area. I don't know if you're very familiar with the pavilion. When you go to the farm market, we have that lip also. It's been cracking. There's some tripping hazards, and we know that we need to replace that. But we also know that our cooling system for the ice rink is extended in its life, and it's going to need to be replaced. So thinking that we need to replace that and the cement, it has been proposed that we bury the cooling system and when we lay the new cement. So that will reduce staffing time and funding for that ice rink, because the ice rink does fall under the DDA. And then all the pavilion area, the pillars, there is not adequate electrical, so we want to upgrade that electrical. So in the future, if we ever want to have a festival and have some food trucks, we can do that. Right now, if you were to plug anything in, more than one thing, you might blow the fuse, because it was only created for just small lighting. So we're really looking for that, and we are looking to fund that through some grant funds as well. And then the third bullet, Friends of Goodwill Splash Pad Sidewalks, is completed. I got that notice after I had already had this done, so that is already paid for and off of our future endeavors. So the City of South Haven is a redevelopment-ready community, RRC, and the DDA, this helps the DDA attract and retain businesses by facilitating Michigan Economic Development Corporation, better known as MEDC, grant funds. So since the time that I've been here, as well as working with MEDC, we were able to fund about $150,000 to local businesses in the downtown district to help their businesses grow. So this is just a list of some of the businesses that were able to apply for a grant, and the grant goes through the DDA. And then they were to be reimbursed for any changes in their business, maybe new businesses outgrowth. And it is opening up again in this January, and we have 2 new businesses that would like to apply for it as well. So in the city of South Haven and surrounding communities, there's been 35 businesses that have had ribbon cuttings, new businesses, renovated businesses. Out of that 35, 9 of them have been in the downtown district. So just to show you this slide, really just shows you that we have a thriving community downtown, businesses coming in, changing, just making a very vibrant area. We also have some future business and development in the downtown district. This slide just shows you a few things that will be happening in the near future. As you see, the NNR redevelopment, if you notice that now there's 2 new business. There's the businesses on the lower level, but then on the upper level, it is going to have some type of housing. I'm not sure quite what that is, but that is in the future, as well as the redevelopment, Lockard redevelopment project that is on Center Street. And then the empty lot that you see over there on the right is the future site of South Haven Visitors Bureau. So I don't know if you're aware of it. The Visitors Bureau did buy that property, and their plan is to build a brand-new Visitors Bureau there. And then the renovations of Forest House. And then on the lower part is consumer credit. So right now, if you've been walking around town, you'll see they redid their parking, which was so nice last year because they let the public park in that area. But they redid the parking. They are going to open up the back end for someone to rent a business, to have a business there. And the front end will be that's on Phoenix for some kiosks for their banking. So remember when I said our RC, that we are redevelopment-ready community? Part of that is just having some educational training, whether it's a board member or it's myself, and we have an opportunity at our board members to share that information. So this just lists some of the things that I was able to participate in this year. This really keeps our RC status in good standing. So we want to make sure that we always take part in that. So again, I want to thank you so much for letting me come and share all the wonderful things that we're doing with the DDA. It's the DDA's ambition to build value in the community for the benefit of the community. Projects will be financed through tax increment financing, which is the TIF money that I was talking about, and will proceed with or initiated as monies are available and budgets allowed. So we always have great ideas, but it's only as if we can fund those. So thank you so much.
I just want to thank you and my family vacations up in Frankfurt. And years ago, I would always say, why can't South Haven have a downtown like Frankfurt? And now we do, and it's even more beautiful than Frankfurt. So thank you for everything.
Oh, well, thank you so much. But I truly believe this, and I say this from my heart. I'm only as good as the leader who leads me, the team who supports me, and the wonderful board that I have the opportunity to work with. So thank you.
Joe, do you have comments as a board member?
No, I'm happy to be on it. I think you do a great job leading the board.
Thank you so much, Joe.
George.
I just want to comment on the lights downtown. They are spectacular.
They are so beautiful. I know, I would like keep them up all year long.
I would too. Any other questions or comments?
Okay, have a great night.
Thank you so much. Next, the City Council will be asked to receive the year-end presentation, Part 1, from Department of Public Works Director Dana Bird.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. While this gets loaded up, I just want to say thanks for having me here tonight. I've been here at the City of South Haven for about a year, and my motto is there's never a dull moment at the Department of Public Works. It really has been a pleasure to work with you all, have the support of council in what we do, have the support of Kate in what we do every day here. So I appreciate the chance to highlight some of the daily things that we do at the department, and I was so excited when Kate told me I've got a solid hour and a half to do nothing but talk about what we do. No, I'm just kidding. In all seriousness, though, I'll try and keep things to 20, 25 minutes. But we do a lot at Department of Public Works, and we're really like a clockwork of people and infrastructure and equipment and operators, and it's really been a joy to get to know everybody, get to know all the utility systems, work with the various boards and councils. So I was overjoyed to know that we get a whole part 1 of the City Council presentation to just talk about what we do there. So I'm going to go kind of quick. Some of my slides have a lot of words on them, but I'm just going to try and give you an overview of all the things that we do over there, because we really do a lot. We have an electric utility that we run the water and sewer utility, we run the motor pool for the city as well as the police department. We have a network of streets, bridges, and a whole engineering department, building facilities, park, cemetery, and our urban forests. So where do I point this? Up, okay. So we do have 42 full-time staff members at Public Works. In the summer and during ice rink season, we pick up additional staff. We pick up bridge operators in the summer, beach safety, and park seasonal staff. So all in all, we have a great team of people that are part of our organization. You couldn't do anything over there without the people that make things run. So, but with that, we provide operation and services to the residents, the visitors of South Haven, and a lot of the surrounding townships as well. We perform maintenance on all the infrastructure we have. We do a lot of capital planning, utility management, as well as our staff as part of the South Haven Area Water Sewer Authority. Oops. So through the contract with the authority, our city staff operates and maintains all the water and sewer infrastructure there. We have quite the org structure, which has really helped me sort things out in terms of responsibilities for who can do what. I'm not going to read all those things, but to the point of this is how we organize our 42 full-time staff and our part-time staff in the summer, and just to highlight all the various operations and utility things that we do. We've got, I think, 6 superintendents, as well as administrative staff, GIS analysts, and office staff, as well as, linemen, heavy equipment operators, water and sewer operators, wastewater treatment plant operators, water filtration operators. So it's really great to get to know everybody there and learn about what they do. And all the staff at Public Works, all part of the team, they really are passionate about the city of South Haven. And they come to work every day because they care about the city, they care about providing the services that people rely on to have a community like South Haven. This is my slide just to say we have a lot of stuff. We have a lot of infrastructure stuff, we have a lot of physical assets, and we take the responsibility to keep those in good operating condition every day because we know that people rely on them. Again, all the things I highlighted before, we have a water filtration plant, a wastewater treatment plant, we have several buildings. Our power supply system involves substations, circuits, lines, metering. All of those things go into the things that we think about every day over there at Public Works. So I'm going to highlight a little bit about each utility here. For the South Haven Electric Utility, this is just kind of at a quick glance. We have about, do I have a laser? You do. I don't see it. Okay. We have about 8,700 customers in our electric utility. Oh, nice. Okay, we have a 40 square mile service area. We serve areas, mostly all of the city and a lot of South Haven Township, parts of Geneva and Casco Townships. Some of our infrastructure, we have 150 miles of overhead lines, 10 miles of underground, 3 substations. And all of that is cared for by our dedicated 8 full-time staff members, including linemen, superintendent, meter techs, and we work with the Board of Public Utilities, who's an advisory board to the utility. So this is our general service area. Also just public service announcement, because it is getting winter, we get ice and snow, and if you ever see a down power line, please stay away from it. Immediately call 911. You can also contact the electrical department. But I appreciate, this picture is kind of a great example of just showing the things that our folks deal with. This is something that most people would run away from and should run away from. But our folks are tasked with going there, trying to operate it safely, to get the power back on that people rely on, and we really pride ourselves on that. So again, just at a glance, these are some of the tasks that we do when we think about the electric utility. We have to purchase power. We have a lot of compliance and policy decisions to make when you run an electrical utility. How do you view different things for customers, connection fees? How do we balance the cost of what it takes to run the utility with what customers pay, as well as operate and maintain? We have a lot of capital construction that we think about. Outage responses, our guys are on call 24/7. When the power goes out in the middle of the night in a snowstorm, they go out there. We have to have metering and locating services. We hook up homes, we hook up businesses, we work with industries in town to make sure they have the power they need to do what they can do. We have a lot of substation maintenance, and we also work with other providers that hang on our poles. So that's actually something that takes up quite a bit of the superintendent's time, is working with all the various telecom people who want to hang on our poles. It's not just our lines that are out there, it's also a conduit to provide telephone and internet and other services that people want. And also for electric, we always have safety. in mind. So that's always got to be at the forefront for them. Utility operations, so again, just a few of the things that are dealt with on a daily or annual basis. You know, we have a 24/7 outage response. Cars hit poles. We get windstorms. There's trees. One of the most interesting things I learned when I started here was actually most of the outage we have are because a critter gets into something. So I didn't know that was such a big thing, but now I do. And so that happens a lot, and our guys are great at responding and getting there and getting things back going. They've had over 170 after-hour calls in the last year, so that's a lot of time. They're called back in to try and address things. It's not always an outage. Sometimes it's a down communication line, but people don't know, and that's fine. They should call because we don't want them taking a risk. We do a lot of installation of overhead underground lines, poles. We replace transformers. We're going through meter replacements, marking utilities that are buried so nobody else hits them. Crews also work with streetlights and hanging banners, making sure our substations are working and helping new service connections get hooked up. So we had a lot of capital projects in 2024. So just to highlight things, this is a picture of our new substation, 12th Ave substation. That was completed this year, as well as the Phase 1 circuit to help distribute the load from the substation. We're currently working on the Phase 2 circuit. A lot of that procurement and contracts have been before council. That project is going very well. Construction is underway for that and has been for some time. We're in the process of switching over all the metering infrastructure for the electrical utility, and we're at about 50% complete on that. We're just kicked off a system inventory mapping project. Appreciate council's support for that. That was on tonight's agenda. As well as working with a company for behind-the-meter solar generation. This will help us control costs to customers by having some power generation that we're not buying off the whole transmission grid. We have seen those transmission costs rising, and so we're excited about the opportunity to be pulling in some power that we don't have to purchase off transmission. That'll really help us with our peak demand times. We're also working with the school on a coordinated fiber project for city hall buildings and the school buildings. Kicking off a service study and working with MDOT on some signal upgrades. So again, never a dull moment at the Department of Public Works. Recently, our crews were asked by the Van Buren Tech folks down in Lawrence to bring one of our old unused poles down so they could start doing some fire science training for one of their programs. This is just a picture of the guys helping set that up down there. So that was the electrical utility. Water sewer utility, again, is governed by the 7-member SHASA board. So I did add South Haven Area Water Sewer Authority to this slide. We do have about 4,900 water customers in an additional service area in Covert Township that adds another 840. Similar number of sewer customers, large service area. We serve multiple townships, including the city, South Haven Township, Casco, and a lot of Covert Township. We have a lot of stuff in the ground. There's 190 miles of water main, 100 miles of sewer. Put up the numbers for the hydrants and valves there. We have 31 pumping stations, so all of that is a lot of things that have been in the ground for a long time, sometimes 80 years on some of these things. And so it's a lot of things that can go wrong in any given day, but again, never a dull moment. We also operate the water filtration plant, which brings in the water supply, and we treat that so that it meets all the drinking water standards, and the wastewater treatment plant, so when you flush your toilet, everything goes out and is treated to meet those environmental standards. We have a lot of tanks, we have a lot of pump stations, and all that is maintained by 5 staff who kind of run the collection system and the distribution system for water. We also have 2 meter readers. I didn't have room in the middle of box to put on there. 4 staff at the water filtration plant and 5 at the wastewater treatment plant that help take care of all that infrastructure. So just again, as a glance for water sewer utility management, a lot of the same things with electrical utility, except we also have to run the water supply filtration, the wastewater treatment plant, and I added the word reporting. I wanted to make sure the word reporting showed up here like 3 times, because whenever you do anything with the drinking water standards, that goes through the state of Michigan. It's public health, and we do take that responsibility very seriously. So whenever we have loss of pressure on the system, we have to issue boil water advisories. And there's a lot of coordination with the state of Michigan to make sure that when something does break on the system or a pipe gets hit, that we are keeping the public's health at the forefront of our thinking. And that system is in place for checks and balances with the state to follow through on a lot of that reporting. So again, we have folks that are on call for emergencies 24/7. And then a couple other things unique to the water system. The state of Michigan has made us replace all the lead lines in the community. And so that's been a huge effort for every community in Michigan. But we've been fortunate to secure some funding for that, to ramp up that. Recently, we did send out lots of letters to our customers. That was a requirement that the state of Michigan has for us to once a year notify folks of what we think their service line material is, if we know what it is, if we don't know what it is. And we'll continue to do that every year until we've identified every service line and replaced every lead line in the system. So some of the things that our water sewer folks do, again, respond to breaks, outage responses. We also get sinkholes in the street. We get basement backups on our sanitary sewers. We're out there replacing hydrants, valves, services. Again, we have a lot of stuff to maintain. I'm not going to read through all of it. Our meter readers are out there reading meters. For misdig coordination, so if you're digging a hole anywhere in the city, you're supposed to call misdig so that you don't hit stuff by accident. And we've had 7,700 requests for misdig just in the city alone. Now that is one individual request for storm sewer, sanitary sewer, and water main. But when companies are doing a lot of fiber installation through all of our streets, and we have a lot of capital projects going on, our guys are always out there flagging, marking utilities. So that's been a big draw on our staff, and has really increased in this year over other years. But the guys have been doing a great job with it. Again, a lot of things on there I could highlight, but I want to be respectful of people's time as well. Here's a few pictures. So water sewer staff responding to a water main break at Sunset and LaGrange. This just kind of shows the equipment needed to respond. You know, we have traffic control that we set up. We need to dig a hole. We need to vac out water. There's a lot that goes into when something does go wrong on the system. And so appreciate everybody on the team who will respond. This doesn't always happen on a nice sunny afternoon in, what was this, October. A lot of times it happens in the middle of winter. So those guys will get out there and do what they need to do. We did install just a few numbers for folks. We had about 52 new water and sewer services installed this year. The water group had about 30 after-hours calls, and we've been out verifying lines, so they've inspected about 2,500 various points on water service lines throughout the year. This is just a picture of an example of when you start digging a hole, this is what we have underneath our street. In most communities in a city that have public water, public sanitary sewer, storm sewer, there's a lot of stuff that's buried underground that people just drive over every day. But we know it's there, and this is what our folks need to do to respond, to make repairs. They jump down in the hole and get to work. Sanitary sewer, just a few numbers for the year. This is a picture of a sanitary lateral that got hit by I think this might have been a gas service line that got put in. But we do have a lot of miles of sanitary sewer, a lot of trees in the community. Tree roots like to find water. There's water in a sanitary sewer. So a lot of times roots will grow into that. That unfortunately results in sewer backups. We do have a program to go around routinely clean. But there's a lot of miles of sewer, and so roots will grow back, sometimes as short as a 3-4 year term. So of our sewer backups, 18 of them were on the public side utility, 16 were on the customer side. That's customer's responsibility to address. And then 2 were as a result of a contractor hitting it. We did have an unfortunate number of sewer overflows this year. They were all very small, but we do report those out, and we keep track of those. It goes in an annual report for the state of Michigan. Some of the things that we respond to after we have a backup or an event is We usually go out there, we televise, we jet, we look for roots. If there's roots, we cut them out. But a lot of the follow-up that comes out of those things, or sometimes there's insurance coordination with homeowners. We review our records, try and update things into our program, reporting to the state of Michigan, and then just communication with the general public. We're always looking to improve our process for that. It was exciting to be part of this. On September 30th, we had a groundbreaking ceremony for our large utility project. So Shasta was able to secure $42 million in grants and loans. I think we've talked about that before at the meeting, but this is quite an accomplishment, and this started well before I was here. So I want to definitely give kudos to staff who've been working on this for years. But it's been great to see it come to fruition, and we did start construction on the new elevated tank. This is not built yet, but the new elevated tank at the Public Works site will look something like this picture. It's going to be a composite-style tank, and it'll replace the 100-year-old standpipe on the system. So part of that $42 million project, we're also going to start in the spring to replace 2,100 lead service lines. We're building a new elevated tank, as well as other piping and demolition and things that go along with that part of the water system. In addition to that, we have been working with ARPA funding that we've gotten from Van Buren County, as well as the city and the townships contributed to work with a local contractor to replace lead lines. So that effort has been in the works for 3 years. We are nearing the completion of that portion of that this year. And then we're going to be moving toward the funding that we got from the state of Michigan, starting in spring for the 2,100 lines. So. At the water filtration plant, there's a lot of things that go on over there, but the main thing is treating the drinking water for the community. And again, our team over there really does a great job with that. There's a lot of daily sampling and testing that we do, lab analysis, daily and monthly reporting to the state of Michigan. They issue the Consumer Confidence Report each year. A couple interesting notes how this year, some unique things is our water usage almost doubled. Through October this year, we've used about 1.1 billion gallons that has been drawn out of the lake and treated. And so that's kind of an indication, I think, of how much water use is happening in the community. But it's been a lot of water uses. Now, we have had a few water main breaks that result in some water loss. But I think it's really indicative of some of the busy weekends and people coming to town. And we did have a drier month there, so there may be some more irrigation happening. But we did have 9 days over 3 MGD at the plant in August and September. And last year, we didn't have any days that were over 3 MGD. So a lot of late summer water usage in the community. Just some of the other things in terms of capital and replacements, equipment upgrades that have been going on at the filtration plant. I didn't start my timer, so you just give me the hook when I'm out of time. The sewer capital plan, we have a big project going on at our wastewater plant this year that's scheduled to be completed in early spring, just in time to start our next big project at the wastewater treatment plant, which will be the flood prevention project. We're also replacing and upgrading a force main over in South Haven Township, and we have some other projects in the works there. So there's always something happening. One of the more exciting things that's being explored right now is a feasibility study to extend the sanitary sewer system down to Covert Township. So we've been working with Covert Township, the folks at Holtec Palisades and Van Buren State Park, just to see, what may be involved in something like that. Couple of things that have been going on at the wastewater treatment plant. We did upgrade our aeration system as part of that larger project that's been ongoing. That'll help get rid of some old equipment that dates back to the 60s, upgrade it to new high energy efficiency equipment. We're doing a lot of new structures and new piping down there to help optimize operation and reliability of the treatment plant. And we're building a new UV structure for treatment. So this will replace the use of chlorine in our system. There'll be a new ultraviolet disinfection system down there. So it's a really, really neat project. The bottom picture is showing the framework. I don't know if folks have been down there or along the river to see this going up, but it'll be a not enclosed structure, but a covered structure that'll be part of the UV treatment system down there. Again, our digester uses a lot of energy, and it's a piece of equipment that got replaced with that project. So kind of moving on from water and wastewater and electric, there's a lot of other things we do over there at Public Works. Motor pool, streets, and the bridge. Just some other statistics. We have 37-mile network of streets, 51 miles of sidewalk. We have a street maintenance department that is out plowing 24/7 sometimes when we get a storm. And that's a lot of things for them to keep up with, but they do a great job with it. We got around 100 vehicles and pieces of equipment that we track, and there's a lot of parking spaces in town, obviously, to support a tourist economy and people living in the area. I think at one point it was estimated 1,300 parking spaces between the park, City Hall, and the downtown lots. And we do that with 5 staff, a mechanic, and bridge tenders. They also support a lot of our special events. So again, here's a great picture of our guys out snow plowing, which is really timely today. So we plow and salt roads. We do a lot of things outside of winter: parking lot, curb striping, painting, leaf pickup, seasonal trash pickup in the summer. There's always something going on. There's always something that needs to be done. And it's really been amazing to see how these different groups at Public Works work. They work like clockwork. There's really a lot of folks who care and contribute, and they know what needs to be done at any given month. And they go out there, they coordinate doing it. They coordinate with each other really well. So it's been a great team to be part of. We have a small engineering group, which includes GIS. So a lot of what we do is capital planning with the engineering group for the streets and the sidewalks. We manage construction in the right-of-way, which is not just our own projects, but anyone who wants to dig and cut through the right-of-way. We manage that process. We do capital projects on parking lots and storm sewers. We have reporting to the state that we do. We plan for the bridge inspections and capital planning. We apply for a lot of grants to supplement funding in the village, and we help review site plans and development. So some of the capital project accomplishments for the engineering group, we worked quite a bit with the water service line replacements that have been in the works. We have a non-motorized path project that'll be starting construction on Aylworth in spring. We do parking and centerline striping contracts, pavement patching, crack sealing, a lot of that preventative maintenance for the roadways, as well as larger projects like the upcoming Elkenberg repaving and the Huron Street reconstruction, and some annual work on the sidewalks. We're always investing and looking for trip hazards, trying to repair and make sure the sidewalk network is walkable and safe for everybody. This is a picture of Willow Street. That was a project that got paved earlier this year. And then we have William Street parking lot coming up for resurfacing next year, as well as some stringer repairs on the bridge and a scour project for the bridge, and some larger inspections that'll be coming before the board in the not too distant future. So again, engineering, I kind of covered a lot of these things. What we're working on, sidewalk ramp upgrades to meet ADA standards, working with new development on site plan reviews, reviewing condition of roads, grant applications, and definitely on the horizon is the 2027 street millage. So kind of planning that out after we're done cutting holes in all the streets and replacing the lead lines. We want to make sure we have a plan to get everything resurfaced. Some of the projects our GIS department has worked on. They work across and help support different things at City Hall in terms of mapping, data, archiving, history. Short-term rental annual report, we work on that. We work on vacant residential parcels analysis that goes into that. We work with beach safety on coordinating maps so that we know where poles and everything are being located there. We work on water service line materials. Our GIS department was heavily involved in our big water capital project because there were a lot of easements and different parcel information that needed to be secured for that. They helped coordinate that, as well as any daily maps that we need for boil waters, traffic control, detours, that kind of thing. And then something we've been working quite a bit on is continuing to come up with our sanitary sewer analysis and study to look for I&I on the system. So that's where rainwater gets into the sanitary sewer that's not supposed to be there. So that's kind of an ongoing effort that's required a lot of coordination and mapping so we can kind of figure out where the problems are and go after them. For facilities and beach safety, I promise I'm getting there. We have a lot of buildings, so some of the accomplishments that we've done for that, for facility capital planning, I'll get to those. We also do a lot of vendor services, so routine maintenance on buildings, generators, elevators, HVAC units. We're constantly coordinating with contractors to come in and do maintenance and repairs. So we did complete the comprehensive facility assessment with the architect. That's about 95% complete. We're using that information to develop updated capital plans for the coming year. For City Hall, I think in maybe just January last year, we had some leaks that were addressed. We also inspected the elevator, did some HVAC maintenance. And then here's just some of the highlights from some of the other buildings and facilities. Center for the Arts completed 2 projects with grant funding that they were able to secure, and then the city provided some matching funds, which I have some pictures of that coming up here too. And more recently, Sue talked about working with the DDA on the 4-season improvements for the MEDC at the pavilion. This is just a picture of some of the recent work that was done at Center for the Arts. So if you haven't been in there to check it out, the second floor really had a significant change. The ceiling was all cracked, and the drywall is all coming apart, and now it's really made a nice refresh on that space. City Council supported the Public Works locker room renovations, so that is nearing completion as well. They used some ARP grant money to contribute to that. So prior to this project, we had just 1 locker room, and so we do have men and women on our staff, and we wanted to have an accessible, ADA accessible space and divide that, so that 1 locker room got divided both into 2 sides now, and so that project is nearing completion. So just a few pictures of some of the things that our beach folks help coordinate with our street department, relocating the poles closer as Lake Michigan water levels drop to get them in more visible locations, and working to install the life jacket loaner stations this year. Parks Department, love the Parks Department for the city. Those guys are great to work with, and they love what they do. They take a lot of pride in making sure that town is picked up trash-free. The flowers look good. We have some great seasonal employees that just join us year after year. So our Parks group's always out there cleaning the bathrooms, picking up the trash, planting flowers. But as well, our park superintendent runs the urban forest for that community, and so he maintains a list of inspections of trees and maintenance on trees, as well as taking on the ice rink setup this year. Skate park was a project that the council supported, and we had ribbon cutting for that with a group of folks that came out to enjoy the new skate park this year. And then just some pictures of daily work, just to give folks an idea of, if you don't see them out there, this is kind of what they're doing every day in the summer, picking up brush, mulch, bike rack stations, picture on the right setting up some of the ice rink. And then our park superintendent wanted to highlight that we really do have a lot of volunteer opportunities, and this community really does support those activities and are really great to work with every year. So we do have a great group of volunteers. There's just an example of cleaning some sand off. We're constantly managing sand. The wind never stops blowing, the sand never stops moving. So that's something that we're just constantly doing. And then here's a few pictures of the ice rink, which is really cool to see it open, people skating. But this is what it looks like when it's being built. And landscaping beds throughout town. So with that, that is all I had. But I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you. Having you join our staff is one of the highlights of the year, so thank you. You've done a great job.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been exciting. It's been really fulfilling and great community to work with.
Any other comments or questions?
I just wanted to say thank you. I know all these pictures give us such a good idea of what you guys think about and do every day, so that us as residents and visitors don't have to think about it. We just take it for granted, and I appreciate you guys staying on top of things.
Thank you.
Mary?
Just curious, I think everyone is, so with the snowfall we've gotten and the leaves that were there, are they there until spring?
Do you think?
I will have to check with our superintendent on that one, just to see if we're gonna get a warm-up. I have not looked at the extended forecast. I heard some predictions that things could kind of melt, but
Yeah, it wasn't looking
if not, we
good.
really can't pick up leaves
Well,
when the snow's covering them, so.
Exactly. So if we do get them out, they might be able to get picked up.
I'll have to coordinate that, and we can put something out to the community on that. A lot of
Okay.
folks are
I just-
wondering.
I know people are curious.
Yeah.
So, but thank you. I know you guys are pulled in many, many directions on days like today. So
Yeah.
thanks for what you do.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jana.
Okay, moving on. Next, the city council will be asked to consider the following actions regarding short-term rentals. Item A, consider adoption of Resolution 2024-47, a resolution imposing an additional 6-month moratorium on the registration and commencement of new short-term rental personal permits. Kate.
Thank you, Mayor. So we have two items under number 13. So one is the extension, a resolution to extend an additional 6 months moratorium on the registration and commencement of new short-term rental personal units. We did initiate a moratorium on the personal STR units of June of this year, so this would be the 6 months after that. The second item is to review City Attorney Cliff Bloom's memorandum requesting clarification arising from the November 18th motion and provide guidance on what the next steps for the STR ordinance changes would be.
Do we want to postpone B until Attorney Bloom can be here in person?
I guess that's up to the council. I would say that, we're looking for guidance because between city staff and the city attorney, we're here to effectuate what the council would like to do.
Right.
And we really want to have a very good idea as to what council wants to do. And if this is a pretty big topic, we may want to look at a workshop if council wants to have more discussion with the city attorney to ensure that we are going in the right direction. I cannot hesitate, or cannot underscore enough that we do have an existing moratorium that I believe goes until February, not to mention this current moratorium extension here. So we really want to be very purposeful that city staff are going in the direction that council wants to go. So I guess I'm looking for guidance from the council.
Okay. Council, what's your pleasure on item B with Attorney Bloom not being here?
I think Kate just said it. She needs clarification. I think the sooner the better. So we're all here. I think we should do it this evening. The lawyer's still going to get the information to look at.
Okay. Okay. Item A. Okay, moratorium.
That's
Kate?
correct. So this is a resolution that would impose an additional 6 months for the STR personal moratorium. This moratorium would continue the existing moratorium that was imposed in June that prohibits the issuance of new personal STR units from being registered and starting their STR rentals for personal units.
Okay, is there a motion?
I move to adopt Resolution 2024-47, a resolution imposing an additional 6-month moratorium on the registration and commencement of new short-term rental personal units.
I'll second.
Any discussion? George?
I am not in favor of this resolution, one, because I didn't vote for the implementation of this personal short-term rental moratorium in the first place. And as a city council, we should have been able to get this done in 6 months, and I'm disappointed in us that we didn't get this done, so I'm going to vote no.
It was one of our top priorities.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? My comments are much like George's. We worked on this all spring and summer. We unanimously gave directions to the staff. They went through planning commission. They got it back to us. We could have taken action on it at the last meeting. While I don't want any more short-term rentals, I will not be voting to extend the moratorium because I don't want our dysfunction to hinder the economic success of the city any further.
And none of us were elected to past moratoriums.
That's true.
Any other discussion? Okay, Joe?
I don't call it dysfunction, nor do I call that we're failing in any way. I think what we're trying to do is make the best possible short-term rental ordinance, both for personal and for business. And if that means a moratorium to make this right, I'd rather do that. I've been on city council 6 years wrestling with short-term rentals, and I think we're getting close. And I think what we're proposing is better than we would have done months ago. So I don't think at the finish line, we want to hesitate and not make a moratorium so we can get this better than ever. So I'm all for the moratorium.
Megan, could we have a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Onuki?
Yes.
Reeser?
Yes.
Sleeper?
Nope.
Wilkins?
Yes.
Arnold?
No.
Hasley?
Yes.
Brown?
No.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, review City Attorney Cliff Bloom's memorandum requesting clarification arising from the November 18th, 2024 motion and provide guidance on next steps on short-term rental ordinance changes. Kate?
Thank you, Mayor. So I've included Cliff Bloom's a memo into the packet, and he restates the motion that was passed on November 18th. And Attorney Bloom is asking to council advise the following. Is staff directed to adopt/incorporate the alternate STR ordinance amendments proposed by Council Member Hasley with or without changes or revisions? 2, is staff directed to move some or all of the provisions in the draft zoning ordinance to the regulatory ordinance, and to then add language regarding a new overlay district, revisions to the cap wording and density for the R1A and R1B zoning districts? And I believe that we might know the answer to this, but 3, he writes, staff is unclear as to what the middle ground approach referenced during the meeting is. If there is a copy of such draft, could it be sent? And in addition, is staff being asked to adopt that middle ground approach as the current draft to be sent to the Planning Commission? And based on a meeting I had with Mr. Reeser and Member Hasley last Monday, it sounds like the middle ground approach is the Mary Hasley version referenced in item 1, which has been incorporated, has been included in this packet. Is that correct, Mary Hasley?
As I said, based on an email that we got, that is, people have been referring to the middle ground and referred to efforts that I have done. Have you asked the people who have referred to middle ground?
I have not. Okay. So those are the 3 options that Mr. Bloom is asking for some clarification from this council. What is your pleasure? Which ordinance are we to be working on, and what do you want the city staff and the city attorney to do?
Joe, you made the motion, so can you explain it to us and clarify?
Sure. The first part is to simply come up with an ordinance that meets the criteria of my motion. If you want, I'll read the motion again.
Sure.
I think we all have got it. You want me to read that again?
Well,
In simple terms.
I think we need clarification, like Kate said.
Okay. So clarifying it is we met with Kate and we said there should be one ordinance that's all regulatory. We came up with a cap. We talked about overlays. We talked about density. And then Kate said, well, we really don't have time for staff to do all that. So Mary said, I will write the ordinance. She has written it. We all have a copy of it. I've gone through it. If there's any changes that need to be made, but it looks pretty good as is. So what I think we'd like to do is give her ordinance to the lawyer to look at it and get it back to us.
Does this go back to Planning Commission?
It would have to go back to
Okay.
Planning Commission. It's a brand-new ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
And I guess I want to clarify that I did have some follow-up questions, because quite honestly, I'm very mystified by the language that's in here. I think I mentioned those on November 18th, because quite honestly, I was hearing for many months, maybe 11 months, that we want no new short-term rentals. But what I read in this document is that we do want more STRs, and we want them in certain areas. I understand there wants to be a cap, but the cap will be at 534. So we're setting up a new overlay district for new STRs that cannot be issued. Is that what I understand?
So, the biggest issue is not having more STRs in residential R1A, R1B areas. We also have people saying, well, we need STRs for tourism. So trying to come up with a balance, and having been contacted by people in some of the condo associations that have been identified for overlay, you know, they would like to continue and to not be capped out, to be exempt.
So if I understand correctly, the Planning Commission recommended that all condos, attached condos, would be part of the overall cap. But if I understand this language correctly, that means that, so attached condos would be part of the cap, but some attached condos could be exempted from that cap and be given unlimited STRs. Is that correct?
So the way it was worded is the condo association would have to apply to be in an overlay district. And at least 50% of the members would have to sign in support. One reason, my understanding, is having attached condos under the cap is because the attached condos can have a different price point, and they may be an entryway for our workforce housing. The condos identified in the overlay are along the lake. Just being along the lake increases the cost, and that would then price them up higher regardless of the rental aspect.
So if I understand correctly, you would like a new short-term rental zoning ordinance that has these components for an overlay district, because an overlay district only applies to zoning. And you would have a new ordinance or an amended ordinance every time there would be a new addition to the overlay district per either each condominium association in a certain area, and or areas along Black River, correct?
As I originally said when I sent these to you in October, I had hoped you would send them to the attorney to get input, because this is not my area, but I was hearing concerns from residents whose voices were not heard. I was seeing removal of aspects from the ordinance from 2018 that were in there for a balance of STRs and residents, and those layers were being removed or significantly modified. And so it would be very helpful to understand how feasible that is. I was trying to come up, these are what I'm hearing, and I would like to know how feasible it is to have these options.
Okay. At this point, I've read Mr. Bloom's memo. I provided it to all of you. I know that we have questions from a staff perspective. The city attorney has questions from a legal perspective. And I do want to underscore the fact that city staff, the city attorney, are here to effectuate the policy adopted by this board. And we need to tell you if it, A, is workable from an administrative or enforcement standpoint, and then 2, is it legal from a legal perspective? So I guess I've seen and I've included Mary's documents in here. Now, what does council want to do with them? Do you want to have the city attorney review them and then bring them back? What is your pleasure here? What do you want to see done? And I guess I'm looking for guidance because I want to do what you all want to see done.
Can we send it back to planning without an attorney's opinion, or do you recommend having a legal opinion to make sure it's legal?
I would recommend to have the city attorney review it as well as staff's review, because I think there could be deficiencies that need to be identified right away, so that if this is the way council wants to go, but this isn't the right wordage, we need to figure that out.
And then after we get a legal opinion, it still goes back to planning commission.
If this deviates from what the planning commission reviewed previously by a substantial matter, I believe, yes, it would.
Okay, thank you. Joe?
So I agree with you. I think you should take Mary's ordinance, give it to the lawyer for his review, and get it back to us so we can see it, and if that means going to planning, fine. I do want to add a couple things, though. I listened to the planning meeting, and the clear impression I got, I'm not going to quote anyone, was that we didn't hear and didn't act upon what they wanted. This document, I held it up last time, has many of the points that are in Mary's proposal. So we have listened, Mary has put them in here, and that's what I'd like to support. Give it to the lawyer for review and have it come back to us. So I think, I don't know how much clearer it can be. It's here, and you've got it. So I agree with you, Kate. Let's send it to the lawyer. The sooner the better, so it can so it can come back to us for our review.
I think if that's fine, if that's what the council would like to do, I just need a motion saying send Mary Hasley's proposed draft ordinance to the city attorney and city staff for review, and return that as soon as we can.
Okay, is there a motion?
I make a motion to send Mary Housley's proposal to the attorney.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
That's not what Kate said, but it is your motion. So,
George?
So first of all, I've got a big concern with a member of city council writing an ordinance that we're supposed to just run with. It is not, as Member Hosley said, this is not her area of expertise. The way we developed the original ordinance that we talked about last meeting is we worked with the attorney, we worked with the staff, we gave them input as to what we wanted, and then we got something that we sent to Planning Commission, and it came back to Planning Commission. Now we're talking about starting all over again with something that I don't know who else was involved besides Member Hosley on this ordinance. I don't know where these ideas are coming from, but they're not coming from the city council. They're coming from one member of city council.
And that's not how municipal government works.
Yeah, and so I've got the general comments. I've also got specific comments looking at what Member Hosley, and I have some concerns with that draft ordinance. And I don't think that's a good starting point to send to the attorney to have them start with.
Joe?
I don't think it came from one person or even two persons. I think it came from several people talking to the lawyer numerous times. It came from, again, the planning, what they sent us, and a lot of that is in this. So this is a culmination of several city council persons, if not everyone, talking to the lawyer and getting input, several meetings, and this thing has evolved. And I'm sorry, it didn't stop months ago, but we didn't get a final document. So as time has gone on, all of us have constantly reevaluated it, looked at it, added pieces to it, and I think we're on our way to getting it better than we did a couple of months ago. So it's a living document that changes that I think could be and should be better. We're down to the last stage. And if I remember our conversation, Kate, you said staff didn't have time to put this together. So you, Mary, if you want to do it, or you, Joe, go ahead, do it. And that's what was done. And now we're starting to say, well, why is she doing it? She was asked to do it, and she took the time and effort to do it. I've read it. All of us have read it. And I think it's a good document. Could it be better? I don't know. The lawyer can make that decision.
I should clarify, I didn't say that staff didn't have time to do it. It's that this is obviously something that's not coming from staff. If you want the review, we can do the review, and so will the city attorney. But this isn't, I guess I did not say that staff didn't have time to craft a new ordinance.
That's what I heard you to say.
Now, I can't craft an ordinance that I didn't hear from 7 members of council. I'm hearing that, Member Hosley worked on this. I'm not sure who all did it, but I'm hearing that many people have, but city staff can't work on something and shouldn't be working on something from one person alone that I had no idea about. I know that she sent emails, that she's got her concerns, but as I've mentioned, and we've been learning, and we've done our trainings about, I work for 7 members that act as one board. That's why when I come to you and I ask you, what is your will, I'm looking for a majority of you. 7 would be great, but a majority of you to tell me which way you'd like me to go. You're 7 individual people who have very different ideas. I'm trying to find a way to get you all what you need because you operate as one entity that I work for. So I just need to know what you want to do because like I said, I can't just take what one person says and make that the will of the council unless I know that's what you want me to do as a majority of you.
We're ready to vote. Can you read
And
the
I-
motion?
I
Make
haven't
it quick.
talked. So the areas that were covered were actually items that were presented to the attorney at the at the September 5th Planning Commission meeting. And I expected some suggestions to come back in October, and those were not done. And also, even from the beginning, we had requested discussion, and there really wasn't much discussion on the 3 items. So when it got to October and these requested items were not addressed, I started putting together language.
That's not how municipal government works. Okay, read the motion
I
again.
have a comment too.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I have to remember it really quick. Oh. I can't even remember, like, we've had so many meetings, so many closed meetings. I don't know that we've had any actual workshops about short-term rentals, besides presentations maybe given to us, but I always had in my mind that we were gonna address a couple of these things, and to me, from where I'm sitting, what Mary came up with is closer to what I wanted and what I thought the majority of us wanted than what we looked at the last meeting. So I agree with anyone who said they feel like this is going in the right direction. To me, this is closer. We might want to change things. I feel like we need an opportunity to talk about it as a group. But again, this is closer to what I had expected and wanted all along, so.
Well, then why did we send something totally different to Planning Commission and said, we, City Council, want this Planning Commission? And I understand Mary talked to planning commissioners, but no one came back to City Council and said, hey, City Council, we need Planning Commission to do something different than what we told them.
I don't remember the timeline personally, but I really thought we said, well, I can't even say things because I believe it was discussed where I can't say it. So I have an answer, but I cannot say it up here.
Well, I mean, at the July 11th workshop, we had requested more information to come back to us, and it never did come back to us. And Planning Commission continued. And efforts were used to have those addressed at Planning Commission, but nothing ever came back from the attorney. So.
Kate.
I would just say that I know that there was a number of items that were left for further discussion after that ordinance was sent to the Planning Commission. And in my mind, it doesn't make sense to send the Planning Commission a zoning ordinance to contemplate and review if the City Council is going to be continuing to work on the same zoning ordinance and add additions. Either it's not ready to be sent to the Planning Commission, or it is ready to be sent. And my understanding is that 7 of you sent it to the zoning ordinance, or sent the zoning ordinance draft to the Planning Commission. Again, I'm just trying to underscore the fact that staff are here trying to figure out what you want. If 7 of you send something to the Planning Commission, I wouldn't expect City Resources to be continuing to develop an ordinance that's already been sent for review.
Okay, Megan, can you read the motion? We are voting.
The motion at the moment is to send Mary Hosley's proposal to the attorney.
Okay, roll call, please.
I'd like to make a motion to add and to the city staff.
And what, Jeff?
And to the city staff. I would like the lawyer and the city staff to review this.
Okay, is there a motion?
Well,
That is the motion, so we need a second.
Oh, is there a second? Sorry.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, so the amended motion is to send Mary Hosley's proposal to the attorney and city staff for review. Okay? Reeser?
Yes.
Sleeper?
No.
Wilkins?
Yes.
Arnold?
Yes.
Sorry. Hosley?
Yes.
Onuki?
Yes.
And did I get everyone? Brown?
Brown.
Wilkins. I'm sorry.
Did you will? Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I have Reeser, yes. Sleeper, no. Wilkins, yes. Arnold, yes. Hosley, yes. Onuki, yes. And Brown, no. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
motion carries.
Okay. Moving on, 14, public comment. Citizens, what?
Did we vote on the moratorium?
Yes, you already did. It was voted 5-2.
14, citizens in the audience will be heard on items not on the agenda, and you have up to 3 minutes.
How you doing? My name is Nathaniel Goodwin, on the Save Cave Barbershop.
Oh, can you move your microphone so it's right in front of your mouth?
Yep, thank you. Nathaniel Goodwin, that's on the Save Cave Barbershop at 201 Center Street. And I'm here, I've been here for a minute trying to see, first of all, how I can get on the agenda, because it's be here all day about things that's important, that's good, but the accountability on stuff I've been trying to get put on the agenda with, like, the police and community relations. You know, I came to her, I met with her and the former police chief about building better police and community relationships around here, you know, with so much going on, so we can understand each other and make a better community and all like that. And it all went, like, to the wayside. They told me, the former police chief told me she was going to reach out to me, and she forgot about it. She never reached out. And I'm just trying to get that, because as a community, you know, with the STRTs, that's cool and all that, but as a community, it's important to have police and community relationships that matter and that last, and know that everybody care about each other. And we had that with the other chief, and now going into looking for another chief, you know, to not really pay a lot of attention to it or have the community in on it. It's baffling, and I would like to figure out how we can get involved in that. We're picking the next police chief, and and I brought up about the sign in my barbershop, but you're supposed to get back with me about that too. I asked you at the meeting way long ago about the sign that's in front of my barbershop that says 5 minutes, and you told me you was gonna have somebody call me, but didn't. I know you'd probably be busy, but that's one thing. And yes, basically, and how do you get things on the agenda? Because I don't mind learning about everything that's going on, or, you know, but, you know, to spend 3 hours and then just have 3 minutes on something that I think is big, because like we
You have
talking
1
about.
minute.
Okay, we're talking about community and all like that, but I think policing is a big part of making our community rotate and go smoothly, and for everyone, not just certain people, you know, like that. So that's just all I wanted to say, and if you can get back with me about the sign, and maybe we make another meeting to see how we can deal with this policing and community relationships, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I know that we're in a transition period between chiefs and all, but Sue Brock, the DDA director, and Michael Landis did stop into your store and meet with you, or at least meet with one of your employees to talk about the parking. So we will have a follow-up on that.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Joe Wilkins, 811 Indiana Street. Real quickly, the 3 points. The first one is, again, I'm hearing feedback on the process used for hiring the police chief, the next police chief. And the feedback that I'm getting is not agreeing with whether or not it's really transparent. I voiced some of the concerns before that they felt that to go in-house with anybody that did not really embrace the vision that the chief had already laid out would be a step backwards, a real big step backwards for a lot of people that I spoke to. And so I think we ought to have a little more transparency with hiring the next police chief. The second is I struggle with this because I respect these two gentlemen on council, but I must say that to always suggest that the 4 council persons are doing things that the other council didn't do when they bring up motion. I've been sitting in that seat for about 5-6 years. And the other council that was not resident-centric at all, in my opinion, did it all the time. A lot of times, should I say, to be fair. They did it a lot of times. They brought up motions. Once a motion made a motion, the other person seconded it and pushed it down our throat. And the second thing, when it came to STRs, dealing with STRs, heck, the last council wouldn't even let us talk about STRs for years. So I understand what you're saying, Jeff. And I understand and I respect you, I respect George. But you guys handcuffed the council for years, wouldn't even let us talk about it. You kicked the can down the road. So you're saying lack of time and effort, we're going backwards, we're doing this. That's a little puzzling to me. That's a little puzzling. And the third thing, in regards to
You have 1
George
minute.
Sleeper, who I respect him as a person, a resident. I worked with him. I think we ought to lay off Mary. She's doing a great job. She brings to the council a well of experience. She's very detail-oriented. To hear, I went and listened to what Steckman said, and I hate to call out names because you get a big target on your back. But to me, that was just outright disrespectful. And I think he might have even overstepped his boundaries. I would like to say we're better than that, but I don't know that. I don't know that now because you guys are doing it with ease, with no conscience. Please respect her. Respect what she brings to planning and what she brings to council. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Keith Kalinowski, 270 Oak Street. I don't know that the question about how to get something on the agenda was addressed. So the gentleman, 2 people before, asked that question. Do we have an answer for that?
The city manager puts together the agenda for business that has to be done. I work with a number of people who want to give updates to the city. So if there's something that has to be discussed, I guess I'd talk to a person about it and see if this is something where council wants to listen to that. So let's talk afterwards. I can tell you that we have a lot of business that we do. We have a lot of comment. And I would want to be very mindful of what we do put on the agenda because I do also know that some council members have other jobs. And a late night till 9:30, 10 o'clock, or 3 to 4 hour meetings is pretty unusual for a city of this size. So I like to be very mindful about what we put on the agenda so that we're not really extending the time here. This is, like I said, it's very unusual to have 3 to 4 hour meetings with a city of this size.
If there are no further comments, do you have a comment?
Jared Knapp, 13718 72nd Street. So I live in the township and am affected.
All are welcome.
I know, I'm affected very little by the decisions made here. Except I do want to make a comment. I do very much like the 3 minutes. I feel it kind of makes people have to be more a little concise and bullet point. When 5 minutes, we kind of get the liturgy, the hyperbole, that I don't think is very conducive to these meetings. Secondly, I do want to just speak very positively. I don't know if you've noticed, and I am in no way affiliated or we have not got together to do this thing, but there are many employees here who are only here, many you may not even recognize because they're not very public-facing employees, only for solidarity to our amazing city manager. I only have positive things to say about Kate. We have a lot of disagreements, but they're all because she understands so much more from the administrative level what we have to do. I get pushback all the time. I very much want to update the city website, for example, but we have so much going on, and especially because it would involve city council so much, being such a big facet of how we communicate publicly, have to put it off because of short-term rentals. I sat in as many meetings as, well, George, when it comes to short-term rentals. I went to the housing things. I heard Ryan Kilpatrick say in no uncertain terms that the way that you make housing more affordable is by reducing your zoning requirements and easing setbacks. So I think it's just a little unfortunate that we have such amazing news about how, sure, we're at the cap of short-term rentals, but we also have this issue where we have 35 new businesses that opened in South Haven just this year. It kind of sounds amazing. I think it reflects positively on the city manager, but also that this whole short-term rental thing needs to be brought back to the beginning of what is the problem. You know, I don't mean to address things that were already on the agenda, but the agenda changes all the time, it also seems, which I was told to keep it positive, so I'm going to end my comments there with Kate is an amazing city manager, and I think we would all agree. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Okay, we're moving on to city manager's comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Over the weekend, last week, we received 8 submissions for the lifeguard RFP. City staff will be reviewing those submissions and bringing forth a recommendation. As to the police chief search, I do want to thank the 40-plus individuals who participated in the community focus groups. There was a lot of good feedback that was given on that day. We had a lot of people through this building giving feedback, giving comments, and giving their impressions on the 3 candidates. And I'm hoping to have an update for council later this week. And as we are coming off Thanksgiving holiday, I think it's important to be thankful for the beautiful city that we do have and the beautiful staff and the wonderful staff that do work here. I'm very floored to hear the comments tonight. I should say that because I've never asked anyone to come here and talk. In fact, I usually have a policy not to. But I do want to just be very clear that we have an amazing city staff that are here to take care of the 4,000 people who live here as well as the region. This is the South Haven community, and I think that it goes a lot further than the local government borders that we do have. I think that matters most when you're getting your tax bill and where you're going to vote. But for the most part, people don't ask you if you're in the township and you're shopping at Meijer or if you're going to be serving on Rotary or anything like that. I do want to say thanks to the city staff for all that they do, whether it's plowing sidewalks and roads, whether it's restoring power, setting up utility accounts, issuing ballots, et cetera. The city staff care a lot about this community and each other and helping everyone out. Public service, in my mind, is a team sport, and no one person or department can do it all alone. So I'm thankful for the stellar team that I work alongside with to provide services to the South Haven community.
Thank you. Okay, time for mayor and council persons' comments. Letitia.
First, I want to say thank you to everyone who came out tonight. And I like something that the city manager said, that she is thankful. And I am very thankful for life and for strength, and just thankful to be here on tonight. And thankful to be in a wonderful community of people. And I'm saying this to say that I received text messages, emails. Everybody has their own opinion about what South Haven should be in the future or what we should do. And we get a lot of opposition and name call for trying to answer to the call of, I'm Ward 1, some are Ward 2, and others are Ward 3. But we're trying to please our different wards and the community as a whole. And I don't think at any time we should be nasty to each other, because, Mary is strong at what she does. She's very detailed. She knows things that I don't know, and I absolutely do not understand. I don't even try. But I appreciate all her input and all her time that she has spent trying to help us get to where I felt that all of us have said we wanted to get to. I think the majority of us have said we wanted to put a cap with the short-term rental. But sometimes I'm up here and I feel like, do we really want it? Because it's such a tug of war. Even one of the attorneys said it should not have taken us this long. I don't know really what's going on. I know that I'm trying. I know that there are some of us, I think that we're all trying. But I think that we have to put our personal feelings and opinions aside to do the best for this community as a whole. We need to think about our school system. If we don't have families, we won't have schools. If we don't have families, we won't have need for some of these businesses. Short-term, people that come into vacation here just in the summer cannot keep this city going 365 days a year. We need families. Going down the street and I only see a couple of lights on is sad. I've been here 55 years, and there's no families. There's no children in my community. I live on Indiana Street between Edgeo and Fruit, and there's very few children. I miss those days when my children were growing up and I could hear children laughing and playing. Now, everyone should be saying, we need the youth. If you don't have a youth, you don't have a community. If you don't have youth, you're not going to grow. Our average age is 61 years old. Where are we going? But yet we got people that are not really thinking about this. What about the future? I heard you say this, and I'm not picking on you, but what about us? What are we going to do? Mr. Arnold, we work together. We need children to have a job. You need children. So I just think that we got to start thinking about what about us? What about the community? It's not, I don't have a problem with people having businesses, and I'm not trying to be long, but I'm going to say this. I don't have a problem with people having businesses, but I think there should be a balance, and we should be trying to push for a balance. And we should not be up here fighting against each other. We have to learn how to understand each other. And I'm not that type of person. I just cannot lash out at people. That bothers me. But I think that we should all respect each other up here. And so that's it. I'm just thankful. I'm going to leave it at that.
Thank you. George?
I recently had a discussion with some people that recently moved to South Haven, and it was really interesting to talk to them about why they picked South Haven. And it made me realize there was really a lot of good stuff going on in South Haven right now. And unfortunately, when I get done at a city council meeting, it's like a downer. And I just wanted to try to counteract that by saying there's a lot of good stuff happening in the city. I talked about the lights downtown, but there's a lot of desirable things going on in South Haven, and sometimes we just need to stop and reflect on that. That's it.
Thank you. Joe?
I'm sitting here thinking what I want to say, and I'm not going to do it in any particular order. But I would tell everybody sitting here and everybody listening and anybody who hears from somebody that was here, people that vote up here, whether we're on one side or the other, we represent hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people in this town. All of us talk to residents all the time. I go to the senior center. I hear from hundreds in the course of a week. I walk the streets. I get stopped in Meyer, and I think that's probably true of all of us sitting here. And we are voting, without a doubt, for the residents. We want what's best for this town. And I take real exception when I get criticized and get called by one person from the Planning Commission that my idea was convoluted. Now, George says he feels this is a downer. To me, this is democracy. It is not clean. It's not always fun. But we are sitting up here voting for what we think is best. And we have some people in this city council that have knocked themselves out, delving into every detail of these ordinances, and even at the request of the city manager, has taken the time and effort to put together an ordinance. So in my humble opinion, we are not only doing our job up here, but we're doing it the way a democracy should be done. So as painful and as tired as I feel, and last city council, I got in the car and drove 3 hours to Chicago because I had to catch a 6 o'clock flight the next day. And I did it gladly because that's what it takes to help this city. And I think rather than feeling bad about the city council, yeah, I'm tired. Yeah, I'm frustrated at times because I can't get everything done or I can't explain everything exactly understandable to some people. But surely we're getting things done and we're moving the needle forward. And 6 years ago when I got on city council, the short-term rental ordinance was a mess. And I think we're getting real close to getting it a whole lot better. So sorry it takes a long time. Sorry, we're going to keep rewriting until we get it right. But we will get it right and it will be better. But I am proud of the people up here, including George, who doesn't always agree, but I don't think it's bad. I think only way we get something to move forward is you can have differences of opinion and then finally vote, and that is democracy. And I'm sorry, the votes that we got to push this through is what we're going to continue doing, if that's what it takes, if we think that's the best thing. And I will continue to listen to the residents, and I'm not alone on that, because I know each of the people I talk to are always telling me what the residents want. Thanks.
Thank you. Mary?
I also want to thank everyone who came here, and especially Bishop Wilkins, Councilwoman Wilkins, and Councilman Reeser for their support. You know, in trying to gain my feet as a city council person, I do talk with other people, and the mayor of New Buffalo previous mayor, has indicated that he has drafted ordinances himself. So it's not completely uncommon for someone to take the bull by the horns to try and get something done, especially when you're not seeing things you would expect to see. Thank you for everyone who came out. Your comments were very receptive and I think helped us have better discussions. I agree with Councilman Reeser that I don't think we have to agree, but I think it leads to a better rounded discussion. I am looking forward to a positive outcome to reach a balance that we've been trying to reach for a long time, and I do think that we can reach that. And this Thursday for Planning Commission, we have a fairly short agenda, but we have a workshop on the future land use map that will be part of the master plan. So feel free to come out to see what's happening there.
Wendy?
It has all been said, so no comment.
Miss Wilkins doesn't speak very often, but when she does, boy, does it carry weight. That was great what she said, and she started us on a thankful vibe, and I don't get on Facebook very much anymore. I'm thankful for that I don't get on Facebook very much anymore. But I did post something about Thanksgiving, and I called out DPW. I was thanking them because we've had the one vacuum truck that gets the leaves been broken, and so those guys have been working 7 days a week. And then Dana presented tonight, and electric company went out 170 times after hours. The water company went out 30 times after hours. So, boy, I'm thankful that we have all those people that are willing to put in that kind of overtime to keep the lights on for us and the water clean and running. And so that's what I'm thankful for. And those are my comments.
I just want to echo Jeff's comments earlier about apologizing for items not being on the agenda. And please, if anybody has additions to the agenda, please call me or the city manager to get them on to give our voters time. And that way, we don't have to worry about a danger of violating the Open Meetings Act, and it does not erode the trust of our voters. So the good news is I hope that we will be having more municipal trainers coming early next year that can educate Mary, but all of us on being better city council members. So thank you. If there's no other business, we're adjourned. We are going into, we are now going into a closed session pursuant to section MCL 15.268(1)A for annual personnel evaluation for the city manager. Is there a motion?
I move that we go into closed session.
Is there a second? Roll call, please.
Of course. Sleeper?
Yes.
Wilkins?
Yes.
Arnold?
Yes.
Hasley?
Yes.
Onuki?
Yes.
Reeser?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Bathroom break.